Oh, was the risk worth the reward? Was the risk worth the reward? After weeks of hearing about how the risk is worth the reward, climb the corporate ladder. It wasn't worth the reward for Rey Mysterio. It wasn't worth the reward for Aleister Black. As far as we know, those guys plummeted to their deaths on this pay-per-view tonight. The funny part about that, besides just the fact that they got tossed off Titan Tower, is the fact that we had Rey Mysterio and we had Aleister Black presumably get tossed to their deaths, right? We're not supposed to know exactly what happened to them. We heard a thud. We heard a splat. And then at the very end of the Money in the Bank match, Michael Cole comes on commentary and he sounds practically comatose. Otis, big win here in the Money in the Bank. Completely ignoring the fact that we just saw two men plunge to their deaths. We still don't have a medical update on the two of them. I'm not quite sure how I can even review what I just watched. This was the hardest match. You know, I review Royal Rumble matches. You got 30 people out there. This is one of the hardest matches I've ever had to review in my life. Thank you, Chuck. Whoa, we're getting started early here. Chuck with the $50 Monster... I can't even talk. Let's dial it back. Monster Mania Super Chat. Thank you, Chuck. I saw somebody in the chat before. Hey, Solo, how come you're late to the stream? You must be trying to sober up. How did you know? How did you know? What's going on, guys? Welcome to everybody in the chat as people are filtering on in here for the Money in the Bank 2020 stream. Thank you for choosing me, albeit a few minutes late. Thank you for choosing me for your Money in the Bank coverage. This is your Money in the Bank 2020 recap here live on YouTube. I am the Solomonster. This is the Solomonster Sounds Off YouTube channel. This was a very unique Money in the Bank pay-per-view from the WWE Performance Center and from WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. We had dual location, kind of like WrestleMania 2, although I guess that was 3. That was 3 locations, technically. We got a lot to cover here. We got a whole pay-per-view here. I'm going to get into this here in a second. And Alberto Del Rio. We do have some Alberto Del Rio news that broke late in the afternoon. The circus has come back to town. The clown car is full. Occupancy of 1. We're going to talk about this guy. That's later. And, courtesy of our friends at WrestleRumble.com, we have a special Classic Tag Team Championship giveaway that we're going to be getting to in a little bit. You guys, for those of you anyway who participated, if you signed up earlier, obviously the cutoff has long passed, but we are going to be giving away 2. Well, there's Brandy Rhodes' face. A very disgusted face. She doesn't like the contest, I guess. But we have a Classic Tag Team Championship belt giveaway. So if you apply to be part of this contest, somebody's winning 2 tag team title belts later on here in this stream. But let's get back to Money in the Bank here. And yes, please hit that sub button if you have not already done so. Make sure notifications are on. Super chats are already pouring in. I'm going to mention each and everybody who takes the time to donate. You will be acknowledged. I promise you. We're going to get to everything. We got so much to cover here on this Sunday night. And of course, you could also vote in the Money in the Bank poll on Twitter. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Let me know what you thought of the show. We'll flash the results a little bit later on in the stream. Just top line, quick thoughts on what I thought of the pay-per-view. If you were to ask me, Solomonster, would you give this show a thumbs up? Would you give this show a thumbs down? To me, I would be leaning thumbs up because I enjoyed the main event. I know it was chaotic. I know it was, most of it was comedy. It was played up for comedy. But I am so sick to death of the empty arena setting in the Performance Center that when they go outside of their comfort zone, when they do something different, when they try something like they tried tonight, I can't hate on that. I just can't. I can't hate on that. I enjoyed the insanity of it. Now, would I enjoy a match like this every single month? Probably not. And there may have been parts that I liked more than others, but I am not going to hate on this main event. I had a lot of fun watching this. It was chaotic. I was trying to keep track of what was going on. But you had these 2 Money in the Bank matches going on simultaneously. They were cutting back and forth between the men and the women. There was a little bit of overlap in there. Shayna Baszler choked out Rey Mysterio at one point. Looked like she was picking on a small child. But I enjoyed it. I had fun. Sue me. I had fun watching these Money in the Bank matches. I know it's not for everybody. I know people are going to maybe disagree with me on that. Some people loved it. See, it's the kind of match where you either really, really loved it, or you just absolutely like the Jim Cornette Camp Cornette, where you absolutely hated it. I fall into the camp where I actually liked it. I enjoyed it. And also, talk about winners out of left field. But we're going to get to all that. Let's go back to the beginning here. And actually, before I even get into all of the match results and all that kind of stuff, let me just play catch up here on some of your super chats, because you guys, there were chats coming in before I even went live here on this stream. We had Ashley Zarzor. She was the first. You are the first donation of the night. So Ashley, thank you. And she very much enjoyed Money in the Bank, it looks like. Sean Waters, thank you for the $25 drop. This is MCZX, just sub to the channel. Brandon Turner, thank you very much. Chunk. I apologize, Chuck. That was very disrespectful. Chuck Lentz, thank you for the $50 drop. Willie Eicher, the Chicago Slayer, thank you for the $10. And Mr. Pro Wrestling with the $15 drop as well. So we're going to play catch up as we go on here. We'll go back and forth. Let me, right now, get into the kickoff show, because we had Jeff Hardy and Cesaro on the kickoff, which is kind of weird because they added 2 matches at the last minute. In the last 24 hours or so, they added Jeff Hardy against Cesaro, and they added MVP against R-Truth. MVP and R-Truth ended up on the main card. Jeff Hardy and Cesaro ended up on the kickoff show. I don't necessarily agree with that. Hardy and Cesaro had a good match. If I'm Jeff Hardy and I'm coming back for the first time in probably a year, right? It's been gone for about a year. He had the knee surgery. He had the legal problems. If I'm coming back and I'm having my first match in a year, one of the guys that I would want to put at the top of the list, who I'd want to be in the ring with, is this guy here, Cesaro. So he had the right opponent. I thought they had a good match. Of course, Cesaro is the former tag team partner of Sheamus. Sheamus is starting a feud with Jeff Hardy. So I wasn't sure if we were going to see an appearance by Sheamus tonight. I kind of appreciate the fact that we didn't. I like the fact that they just gave Jeff a hard-fought win. He shouldn't be losing his first match back. You want to give him a win. We don't need some cheap DQ bullshit finish. So there was no Sheamus appearance. There was no bar reunion here tonight. We had Hardy hitting a Whisper in the Wind. They replayed the Whisper in the Wind. I wasn't sure at first if it was a legit thing or not. It wasn't, but he landed right on Cesaro's knee. They were playing it up as though Cesaro might have a knee injury. So my heart was a little like, about those knee injuries. They keep you out for a long time. Cesaro is kind of an unsung hero on that SmackDown brand. We need him around. I love that Peanut Butter Vader super chat. I see Vader dancing in the background, going back and forth in the corner of my eye. Who's that, Kate? Thank you, Kate. Thank you. That's the new $7 super chat for those of you who are interested. Peanut Butter Vader time. They brawled outside the ring. Back on top, Cesaro hit a gut-wrench superplex to Jeff Hardy. They fall down to the mat. Neutralizer attempt is foiled. And we had Jeff roll to the outside. Some more brawling between the two of them. Eventually, they end up back in. Jeff hits the Swanton and picks up the clean win right in the middle, the way it should be. Jeff Hardy's first match back. Give him a big win. And you move on to the feud now with Sheamus. Obviously, that's the next program on SmackDown. I didn't have any issue with this. I thought this was a good opener. Pay-per-view open with the New Day defending the SmackDown Tag Team titles against the team of Miz and Morrison, the Lucha House Party, and the Forgotten Sons in a fatal four-way. This was chaotic, and I have to say, I enjoyed this match. This was one of the better matches on the show. But I have to give credit where it's due. I thought the Lucha House Party was excellent. I thought the Lucha House Party had kind of a breakout night in a lot of ways. I thought they were excellent here in this match. They had a hell of a night. And also, Grand Metalik wore his hair for the first time. I think the first time I've ever seen him in WWE wear his hair this way, outside of his mask. And Corey Graves on commentary made the comparison to, we actually got a name drop for Juventud Guerrera here on this Money in the Bank pay-per-view as I look at Deuce Fontaine with the $10 Russo on a pole, bro. Super chat. Thank you, Deuce. Dropping a deuce here on the live stream. Does YouTube allow that? I guess we'll find out. But yes, we got a Juventud Guerrera name drop here by Corey Graves. Metalik and Morrison, they're brawling up on the top rope at one point. And Metalik hits a Spanish fly to the floor. Everybody, of course, is just waiting on the outside. Spanish fly to the floor, wipes everybody out. Very cool. Lince Dorado hit a springboard stunner on Morrison for a near fall. Also hit a springboard splash. As soon as he hit the springboard slash, here comes Metalik with the giant elbow off the top rope. They've got the match won. They had me thinking for a split second that maybe they were going to shock the world. Until the Forgotten Sons ruined it, as they ruined many a match for me in NXT. So Jackson Ryker. Jackson Ryker is out there, and I don't know if I'm the only one to really notice this. Probably not, because I'm not special. Notice that Jackson Ryker, ever since he came to WWE, of course, he was Gunner in TNA. We haven't seen him wrestle very much, even in NXT. I mean, how many times have we really seen Jackson Ryker wrestle in WWE? Not very often. Now, they've only been on the main roster for a few weeks. We haven't had a chance to see him wrestle yet. Or did we? I don't remember if he might have been in a match a few weeks ago. The point is, we haven't seen him wrestle very often, and I don't know if they're just of the mindset that he's not very good, so we have to hide him and we'll just have the other guys do the work, or if they're saving him for something. It's kind of weird, because even in NXT, for all the time they spent there, we never really got to see Jackson Ryker wrestle very often. It looks like $1 million. I mean, from what I remember of him in TNA, he wasn't a terrible wrestler. Is he hurt? I don't know. It's just kind of strange to me. But Jackson Ryker was outside the ring, and he pulls down the top rope. Big E was coming into the ropes. He pulls down the top rope. Out to the floor goes Big E. You cannot script this any better. So at that moment, Michael Cole on commentary is talking about how, well, in a fatal four-way, obviously it's no disqualifications, and so that sort of thing is legal. That sort of thing is allowed. And almost just the second that Michael Cole got done talking about this, the referee points at Jackson Ryker and he throws him out. He says, "You're out of here." He's like a baseball umpire, and he kicks him out. And I don't know if they muted Michael Cole or if Michael Cole was just so dumbstruck by what just happened he was kind of silent. Something very weird happened at this point, where Cole was kind of quiet. You almost couldn't hear him, and then he was kind of back at full volume on headset. All I know is that it made Michael Cole look like an idiot. And he probably realized that it made him look like an idiot. Because in a match like this, if it's no DQ and there's no rules, then why are you kicking the guy out? Although I guess you could say it's the referee's discretion, I suppose. But you could not have timed that any better from what Cole had just said, and then the referee. It's like, what is going on here? There was a malfunction at the junction in here somewhere. So Metalik hits a springboard crossbody into the ring. Big E catches him, and Kofi Kingston hits the Trouble in Paradise to Lince Dorado. Big E hits the big ending to Metalik for the win. So the New Day retain the tag team titles. They remain 8-time tag team champions. They're not gunning for a 9th. They're still 8 times tag team champions. You know what they want to do. They want to push New Day to the greatest number of reigns. I mean, who has the record? Would it be Edge and Christian? Somebody in the chat, let me know. Who has the highest number of WWE Tag Team Championship wins in history? I want to say Edge and Christian have 11, 10 or 11, but I'm not sure. But I'm sure they're going to want New Day to break the record, whatever it is. They're not too far off from whatever the record is. But to go back to the Michael Cole thing, just because it's just too priceless not to show you this and mention this, I want you to take a look here. Let me unmute this image. I want you to take a look at... this is just ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. This was a shot from the end of the match, right when Big E got the pin. And there's... And I just realized in looking at this image, it actually is kind of funny because it kind of looks like Big E is like a giant in this image, staring down a miniature version of Michael Cole. But that was the moment that the match ended. Is it the Dudleys? Thank you. Okay, everybody in the chat is telling me the Dudleys have the highest number. Are you sure that's WWE tag team titles? I'll take your word for it. Everybody in the chat is telling me it's the Dudleys. So they're going to break the Dudleys record at some point. But this kind of looks like, now that I'm looking at this, Big E is like a giant and he's staring down a miniature Michael Cole. Look at the look on Michael Cole's face. That was the first thing I noticed when the match ended. Michael Cole looked over at Corey Graves and made this gesture like, what? Like, what the fuck? Like, what was that about? I'm assuming he's referring to the whole Jackson Riker thing. He seemed very bothered by this because it made him look like an idiot. I mean, Michael Cole doesn't want to be made to look like an idiot. Even though he looks like an idiot every week, even he realizes that this is just ridiculous. This is dumb nonsense. So anyway, I kind of felt bad for him, to be honest. I felt a little bad for Michael Cole. Not really. Let's play catch up here. Andrew Jorlock, thank you for the $25 drop. We have Soul Klepto with the $5. Disappointed Solomonster. Wasn't very disappointed on this pay-per-view. I got to be honest with you. Lonnie Jones, thank you for the $10. John Falchetta says it was entertaining after a bad day. At least it wasn't boring. Well, hopefully your day gets better tomorrow, John. I'm sorry to hear that. Lord Frieza with the $5. I still don't know if I like Money in the Bank, but here I am to donate. Well, thank you, Lord Frieza. Thank you. If you have to think about it, you probably did enjoy it. I was a little conflicted myself just because I didn't know what the hell I just watched. But on the whole, I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was entertaining. Jacob Donnelly, thank you for the $10. Overall, he says, a fun show. He says, I honestly cannot say that I am sold on Otis winning. No hate for him. Just don't see him as a single star yet. You know, the thing about Otis, and I said this earlier on the podcast when I did my predictions on Thursday. If you remember, I said I had picked AJ Styles to win Money in the Bank, and I said, don't count out Otis. I said, Otis is my wild card. He's just enough out of left field to where it'll shock some people, but he's one of the most popular baby faces that they have in the entire company. So it really would not be all that shocking if Otis won. Now, I don't expect him to go on and win the championship. He's not going to beat Braun Strowman and win the title. But I said keep an eye on Otis. If it's not AJ, keep an eye on Otis. And some people thought I was nuts. Well, you saw what happened tonight. He was my wild card pick. We have another pay-per-view coming up on June 14. It is Backlash. I assume from the WWE Performance Center because where else would it be from? So Backlash is the next show. We had R-Truth against MVP. This was a match that was added at the very last minute just the other day. R-Truth comes out, MVP comes out, and they do comedy. A lot of comedy on this show. Maybe a little too much, but I'm okay with that in the main event. You don't want to go overboard, though. You don't want to do too much comedy. But R-Truth is doing comedy. It's what he does best. And he's going to teach MVP how to be ballin'. He's going to teach him how to be ballin'. He's going to teach him how to play basketball. As I say this, as I think The Last Dance is on right now on ESPN. Is it any good? Because I haven't been watching it. My brother is addicted to it. I've heard good things about it. But I believe it's on right now as I'm broadcasting live. Oh, by the way, I have to mention, one of the things I loved about this pay-per-view is the fact that it ended at 9:30. We had a 2.5-hour pay-per-view tonight. I can't tell you how excited I am about that. I am so happy that we had a 2.5-hour pay-per-view tonight. You have no idea. I wish all the pay-per-views were 2.5 hours. I wish Raw on Mondays was 90 minutes. I would be a lot happier. So, kudos to WWE on that. I could definitely deal with the shorter runtime for the pay-per-views. So out comes Bobby Lashley, the almighty Bobby Lashley. He comes out, he gives MVP the night off. He says he wants the match with R-Truth. And we have a main event match. I mean, why was this on the pay-per-view? I mean, I guess they had time to kill. They only went 2.5 hours. But did this really need to be on pay-per-view? I don't think so. If anything, put it on the pre-show. Why was Jeff Hardy and Sheamus on the pre-show and these guys got time on the pay-per-view? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, Lashley dominated for the most part. He ended up getting the win with the spear. So they're putting over Lashley strong every week. We've got feats of strength. He's beating this guy. He's beating that guy. He got disqualified in the gauntlet last week for kicking too much ass. Seems to me like they're building up to Drew McIntyre against Bobby Lashley. Maybe a Backlash. Either that or Jinder Mahal. Tell me in the chat, who would you prefer to be next in line for a WWE Championship match if you had to choose? You can't say option 3. Bobby Lashley or Jinder Mahal? Jinder Mahal has history with Drew McIntyre from the whole 3MB thing. I don't need to see Jinder Mahal challenging for the WWE title. But what do you think? Bobby Lashley or Jinder Mahal? I don't like either option. I think either option right now is a bad idea. Although Seth Rollins may get another match, but it's not looking too good for the challengers to Drew's title on the Monday Night Raw brand. And I think most, Jinder's getting a lot of love in the chat. Look at this. Look at this. Look at all the Jinder Mahal fans in the chat. I can't believe this. Well, Bobby Lashley's getting some support. It's about 50-50 right now. That surprises me. I didn't think Jinder would get that much support. Now you got to tell me why. Not that I can actually read it because I'm doing this live, but why? Why do you think that Jinder Mahal should challenge next for the WWE title? I would love to know why. We had Bayley against Tamina for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Tamina was in control. Bayley went after her surgically repaired knee. She was ramming it into the steel post. At one point, Bayley had grabbed, or Sasha gave her, I forgot, a bottle of water that she was sipping outside the ring, and then she was pouring the water on Tamina. And that only made Tamina angry. She made a comeback. She tossed Bayley over the announce table at one point. So Tamina went up top. She tried for the Samoan splash. When she came down, Bayley had the knees up, or the legs up. Tamina caught her leg, and she ended up giving her a super kick. She tried for the Samoan drop. Sasha Banks sees what's going on. She kind of crawls halfway into the ring to distract Tamina. Tamina is the biggest idiot on the planet Earth, because instead of just pinning Bayley, keep your eyes on Sasha, but go ahead and get the pin. No. She stops what she's doing. She leaves the ring, and she chases after Sasha Banks. And I've been saying it for weeks. Tamina does not belong anywhere near the championship. And even in storyline, you saw why tonight, because she's a fucking idiot. Why in the world would she do that? She has the champion down. Let me go after the person outside the ring. So she chases after Sasha. She ends up back in the ring. And what happens? She loses. She is a loser. Proves my point. So she crucifixed her over and got the pin. Tamina gave her a Samoan drop anyway. A fall-away slam. When the match was over. Actually, no, she went for it. She didn't hit it, did she? I don't think so. Sasha came in. I think she chop blocked her. And they beat down Tamina. I hope this doesn't mean that this is not the end of the feud. Tamina should be one and done. Move on to the next person. I don't even know who the next person is, because obviously they don't want to do the Sasha match yet. But this has to be the end of the Tamina story. Tamina was kind of a means to an end. She was a bump in the road for Bayley in this ongoing storyline with Sasha Banks. They were trying to stir shit up before the match in the back. They were asking Bayley all kinds of questions. You blame Sasha for the loss on Friday night. They keep building and building and building. Tamina, she was a warm body for Bayley to be in the ring with. That has to be it. The end. Finished. Done. No more. But the match was okay. Wasn't anything special. The match was all right. Brumakian Productions, thank you for the $5. Says, long live the Winged Eagle belt. I agree. JWD 82X, thank you, my friend, for the support. Very much appreciate it. Says, I cannot see Otis keeping. Also, you think Otis is going to lose the briefcase? Well, that is interesting. That is interesting. You may be right. Stephen Fowler, thank you for the $20. Harold Warren with the 15. Solomonster's cat can book a better show. Says Harold Warren. Well, Harold, I mean, My cat died over a year ago, so thank you for dredging up that horrible memory. I appreciate that. But you're right. Even the ghost of my cat, the ghost of Jinx the cat, could probably do a better job booking a lot of these shows. Now I'm very sad. Now that you brought that up, my God. Now that's all I'm going to think about now. Braun Strowman. Jeez. Braun Strowman against Funhouse Bray Wyatt for the Universal Championship was up next. I did not think that I was going to like the match itself. I didn't have high hopes for this as a match, coming on in. And this was not as bad as I feared it might be. I will say that. This was not as bad as I was kind of fearing this match might be. It wasn't great, but it wasn't anything terrible either. It served its purpose, which was to set up the inevitable return of The Fiend, which you had to know was coming. Strowman, he had the early advantage. He was bouncing Bray around. Bray was laughing, and then he would get knocked down again, and he was laughing. We saw a cameo from Huskus the Pig at ringside. And he was cheering on Bray Wyatt. Bray hit a DDT on the floor. Hit a tornado DDT. Bray Wyatt hit a tornado DDT in the ring. And he went for Sister Abigail. Braun Strowman countered it with a choke slam. Strowman hit a splash in the corner. Ran around ringside, knocked Bray into the dasher boards. And Bray he recovered. And he knocked Braun off the apron. And when we saw Braun come up, Braun was wearing the black sheep mask. He was wearing the black sheep mask, the one that he had refused to wear, the one that he wore when we first saw him in WWE. And so he emerges, he's got the black sheep mask, and Bray can't believe it. He's smiling, he's laughing, he's so happy, he's so excited. He's just full of excitement that Braun has come home. He has put the black sheep mask back on, and they come together in the ring, and they hug, and Braun drops to his knees. Thought this was going in a sexual direction there for a second. But of course, he pulls the mask off, he stomps on it, he picks up Bray, he gives him the power slam, 1, 2, 3. Braun Strowman retains the Universal title. Funhouse Bray Wyatt loses for the first time. We've only seen Funhouse Bray one other time in the ring. That was against The Miz back at TLC. He won. Here he lost. And I agree. Because you knew the end goal here was to get to The Fiend. And we even saw flashes of The Fiend on screen when the match was over. They showed Bray slumped in the corner. You saw little glimpses of The Fiend. So you know The Fiend is coming. You know the rematch is coming at Backlash. If they're going to do the rematch, now here's the key. If they're going to do the rematch, and you are going to put The Fiend back in a Universal Championship match, and Bray has already lost, there can be only one outcome. The Fiend wins back the Universal Championship. And we're right back where we were before Saudi Arabia. You cannot put The Fiend in the ring with Braun Strowman and have Bray Wyatt lose 2 times in a row without looking at The Fiend and saying, well, that's it. It's over. The Fiend is dead and buried. That is not a character that you can play around with. He's already lost. But if you're going to put him right back in a championship match, he's got to win. So if their plan is to not put the championship on him, then I would much rather they just don't do the match. Or make it non-title, which would suck. But you can't put The Fiend back in a Universal Championship match and have him lose again. Can't do that. Unless you just want to kill off the character, then go for it. So unless they're planning on putting the title on him, they're painting themselves into a corner again. And I don't want to see them make the same mistake twice. So if that's the plan, when we get to the next pay-per-view, they should be doing a title change. We got another Hacker video. You know, for all the talk about the Hacker being on this show, we had a video, no Hacker appearance. There was no, influence over the main event or anything like that. I didn't think he was going to reveal himself necessarily, but I thought he might do something. Maybe during the Money in the Bank. I don't know. There would be some kind of, he'd hack into the electrical system or something. The lights would go out. I don't know. He'd send up a flare outside. Nothing. We got a video from the hacker. He just said, "I'm everyone. I'm everywhere." He was looking at monitors. Each monitor had different WWE superstars on it. He was in his little control center, and that was it. So, pretty pedestrian stuff. Pretty pedestrian stuff here from the hacker. Nothing really new on that front. Wiz Blue, thank you for the $1.99. Kate Jury, thank you for the $10. My first chance to tune into a live stream. Well, welcome. Welcome to you, Kate. I am so happy that you can join me here tonight. Smooches, thank you for the $5. WWE Fan 13 has subscribed to the channel, which you should all do as well. Joshua Garrett, wow. I thought that said 5. Then I saw the 0. Joshua Garrett with the $50 super chat. Consider this a make good for missing my main donations every Sunday. COVID was affecting my work, but now I'm back in full force. So that's good to hear. You didn't have to do that, but thank you, thank you, Joshua. I appreciate that. And Scorpio Sky's well-trimmed beard. Thank you for the $5. Of course, Deuce Fontaine. I already mentioned Deuce Fontaine a little bit earlier on. We are going to take phone calls later, guys. I'm not doing it yet. We are going to take phone calls a little bit later. In fact, I'll get that set up here and now here before we move on. We always do that. We save all that good stuff for the end of the stream. So that will be coming up a little bit later on. I promise you we will take your calls because I want to hear what you guys thought of this very unusual. I think unusual is a good word for it, right? This very unusual pay-per-view here tonight. I have a feeling. I haven't looked at the Twitter poll yet. 6-digit PIN number. But I am assuming. I'm assuming that there's going to be a lot of divided opinion.
You have not started
about this show.
Welcome,
so I am actually very anxious
now in the
and very
host room
curious
and
to
can
hear
manage
what
your callers from the
everybody else has
Studio
to say
web
about
interface.
this show. If
Show
they are in
recording
agreement or
on
not,
dual channel.
I don't know. But we will find out in just a little bit here. So, Drew McIntyre. We had Drew McIntyre against the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins, for the WWE Championship. Of course, Kevin Owens is not around, even though Kevin Owens beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Kevin Owens has a little bit of an ankle injury. Kevin Owens has opted to stay home, which is certainly his prerogative, and that leaves us with Seth Rollins challenging for the championship. And I have to say that I thought anyway, that this match was excellent. This match was, yes, everybody in the chat, the hacker has taken over the stream. I was just getting the thing set up with the phone. It's not the hacker. Maybe it is. Maybe the SmackDown hacker has taken over the stream. Anyway, we had the WWE Championship. Solomonster was the hacker all along. Well, I guess I just outed myself. I am the hacker. You would think if I was the hacker, I would hack into the show during the Tamina match and I would cut the feed. I didn't do that. So obviously I'm not the hacker. I thought this was an excellent match. I really did. I very much enjoyed this match here. Very much enjoyed the WWE Championship match that we had here on the show. Seth Rollins has new holy music. He's got this new divine theme song. It sucks. I get that he's a heel now and they don't want him to have cool music, but this new music sucks. Kind of like Johnny Gargano's new music in NXT. It's no good. Thankfully, we had an excellent match. The match did not suck. I actually thought this was probably the best match on the entire show. I thought this was an excellent match. McIntyre had control. Rollins went after the knee. A lot of going after the knee on this show. We saw it in the Tamina match with Bayley. Rollins did the same thing here to McIntyre. Put him in a single leg crab, transitioned into an STF at one point. He got the rope break to break the hold. So Rollins went for a suicide dive. He hit a whole bunch of knees to the side of the head. They made a comment about, I don't think the human head was meant to take that many kneecaps. I would say not. That was from Samoa Joe. Good to hear Samoa Joe on commentary. It's one of the bright spots of Monday Night Raw. So McIntyre, he grabs a hold of Rollins and he gives him an overhead belly-to-belly suplex. He goes flying over the announce desk. Actually, he landed on the announce desk and then he bounced off. So that was pretty cool. That gave McIntyre a chance to catch a breather. McIntyre went for the Future Shock DDT. Rollins fought the attempt off. And Rollins hit a frog splash. Beautiful frog splash. Not quite a Montez Ford frog splash. I am quite fond of the Montez Ford frog splash. I think he's got the best frog splash in all of wrestling. But we didn't see him on this show. We saw Seth Rollins. Hits the frog splash. And McIntyre with the quick kick out. Making a big deal about, oh my God, he kicked out so quickly. So Rollins teases bringing in a chair. And the referee is telling him, if you bring that chair into the ring, you're going to be disqualified. I'm going to DQ you if you use that chair. So Rollins thinks better of it, gets rid of it. He goes for the curb stomp. And McIntyre hits the Glasgow kiss instead. Goes to the top rope. Rollins cuts him off on the top rope. Rollins hits the superplex into the Falcon Arrow. Only gets a near fall out of it. Rollins goes for the stomp again. McIntyre hits the Future Shock DDT. Only gets a near fall. Back and forth we go. A lot of back and forth. Very evenly matched, these two. McIntyre and Rollins, they fight up to the top rope. This was actually pretty cool. This is one of the highlights of the match. So Drew gets his leg caught in the top rope. So he's hanging upside down like he's in a tree of woe. Rollins is setting up for something. He's got his back turned. All of a sudden, McIntyre brings himself back up, grabs Rollins, and throws him backwards. The backwards German throw. German suplex throw. He tosses Rollins halfway across the ring. That was cool. You got to admit, that was cool. The German suplex throw halfway across the ring. McIntyre goes for a Claymore. Rollins hits a super kick and a stomp. Only gets a near fall. Let me say this. Byron Saxton. He's only doing what he's told. Byron Saxton is one announcer in a long line of announcers to do this in WWE. This is a WWE thing. Vince McMahon loves it when the announcers go, we're going to have a new champion. Handful of times, maybe in the history of the company, we've actually gone on to have a new champion. 97% of the time, when you hear an announcer go, we're going to have a new champion, guess what? We're not going to have a new champion. And it kills it, because if you actually believe in the near fall, when you hear Byron Saxton go, we're going to have a new champion, then you fucking know we're not going to have a new champion. I don't know why they do this. I don't know why they insist on continuing to do this every single time, every single pay-per-view for years and years and years. It is this dumb WWE directive that they have the announcers do. And it sucks, because if you have a believable near fall and I hear an announcer say that, it's a surefire bet that person is kicking out. So we had Byron Saxton here. We're going to have a new champion. And of course, he kicked out. What else is new? Not his fault. Only doing what he's told. It's a stupid WWE thing. And I wish they wouldn't do it. And he did kick out. But the finish had McIntyre hit the Glasgow kiss. Hit Rollins with the Claymore kick. Caught him right in the face, right in the mush. And got the pin to retain the championship in what I felt probably was the best wrestling match. Not even probably, it was the best match. I don't even know how to grade that main event, but Rollins and McIntyre had an excellent match. Every bit of a 4-star match. I don't give star ratings to the matches on my reviews, but if I did, for this match, I'd probably go 4.25, probably. This was a very good match. When the match was over, McIntyre, he went face-to-face with Rollins. He put his hand out for a handshake. Said, shake my hand. And Seth Rollins shook his hand. And off went Drew McIntyre. Adhering to the code of honor. Here at the end of this match. And Drew McIntyre, I don't think Drew McIntyre ever wrestled a single day in Ring of Honor. Seth Rollins did. So I like the little code of honor thing there at the end of the match. I'm digging Drew McIntyre as the champion. I said this in the podcast earlier. You know, it's a shame that it's coming at a time when he doesn't have audiences to play off of, but I hope he gets a lengthy run with the title, because I think so far it's only been a month, but I think he's really acquitted himself very well as the champion. I've enjoyed watching Drew McIntyre mature into the role, as WWE champion. And as far as, first big title defenses go, couldn't have asked for a better match. Could not have asked for a better match than the one we got here. Wavy Davy, thank you for the $3.99. Get a haircut. Yeah, well, what do you want me to do, brother? It is what it is. Inner Chemist with the $5. Paul Hamilton. What's going on, Paul? Paul is one of my big supporters. I appreciate him being part of the stream tonight. $25 from him, so thank you. Says to the true champion, Mama Monster. Yeah, let me wish a happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. I don't know how many we have watching right now, but I want to send a shout out to all the moms who may be watching this right now. Obviously, Mother's Day for me is tough since I lost my mother 2 years ago, but for all the moms out there, happy Mother's Day. Hopefully you had a good one. Prince Walker, thank you for the $10. Says, Asuka is the smartest Money in the Bank participant ever. And Dylan Times with the $10, thank you. And KM Truth with the 15. Thank you for the nice comments, I appreciate that. So we had R-Truth, was in the back. He was very dejected after his loss to Bobby Lashley, and they went over to interview him. And he's talking about, it's time that I get back my baby. And he threatens Tom Brady. Threatens to take back his 24/7 championship by threatening Tom Brady. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might have a little something to say about that. Of course, the joke is that Rob Gronkowski is still the 24/7 champion. Look, if they can somehow manage to get R-Truth, Tom Brady, and Rob Gronkowski in a segment together, in a room together at the same time, then my hat's off to WWE, because that'll be huge publicity for them. It'll be a huge feather in their cap to have the greatest quarterback in NFL history in a WWE segment. Well, it's going to piss some people off. In a WWE, and I'm not even from New England, but that would be a huge coup if they could somehow pull that off. So if the goal here is to get R-Truth in the same room with Tom Brady, then I'm all for it, even though I'm over the whole 24/7 stuff. So then actually, before I get to the main event, because now we're up to the good stuff. Now we're up to the actual Money in the Bank match. Matt View 72, thank you for the $5. Says, is it just me or do empty arena matches feel slower? Yeah, it's just because your attention, it's just so much more focused on what's going on. And without that kind of white noise in the background, it kind of screws with your head, not for nothing. I agree. Omni Entertainment, thank you for the $2. Brian Pacera, the Florida Freebird with the 20. And CJ LaChapelle. Shout out to CJ helping out tonight. He is one of the wrenches that you see in the chat. So show some love for CJ. He's helping out tonight, as he does every week. So thank you, CJ. I appreciate that. I appreciate you, CJ. I do. Well, then we got to the men's and women's Money in the Bank match. Good luck to me trying to review this. This was where they transitioned over to WWE headquarters. These two matches were taped about a month ago. I believe April 13th was the date that I saw in the Observer. That's when they filmed the match from the wee hours of the morning up until about midnight. It took them all day. Everything you saw tonight, not counting whatever ended up on the cutting room floor, took them an entire day from sunrise to midnight. A lot of standing around and filming and redoing shots like a movie. We got the cinematic version of Money in the Bank for the first time ever. The men's Money in the Bank, the women's Money in the Bank, both being held simultaneously for the first time ever at WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. We had no commentary until the very end. We had no commentary for this match, which was a godsend, thank God. These matches work so much better without commentary. It's one of the, it's one of the biggest reasons why I like these cinematic matches, like the Boneyard match. No commentary. It's much better without commentary. Somebody in my mentions summed this match. I thought they summed this match up perfectly. They said that this was a DDT match, but with better production values. And I could not agree more. I thought that was a very apt description of... We have a lot of Tom Brady hate in the chat. Is that what I'm seeing? Have I stirred things up a little bit? Good. I like stirring things up a little bit. I like getting people all in a huff. Could make for some interesting phone calls later, of course. So the women, they started in the lobby right outside the elevators. They did an introduction. Each one, they played their theme music, and they came out and they posed. So they went back and forth. One guy would come out. The men were basically collecting in the gym area, the corporate gym. They'd show one guy come out. They'd cut back to the lobby. Here comes another woman, so on and so forth. Asuka. Where's Asuka? Well, they put the camera up. They aim the camera up, and there's Asuka. She's in the balcony in the lobby. And she does a huge dive out, wipes out all the women. So Asuka gets things started with a bang. And I did kind of laugh at this because she wipes everybody out on the balcony dive. And the first thing that Asuka does, because she's smart, she goes into the elevator. And they have a shot of all the other women as the elevator door is closing. They're trying to get into the elevator, but the door closes. And they all say, the stairs. So they run for the staircase. And then they cut to the security camera inside the elevator. And we see Asuka, and she's dancing, and she's screaming. She's doing all the things that Asuka would do. I laughed at that. I did find that entertaining. I keep hitting the desk. So back in the gym, I'm so excited about this Money in the Bank match. It's better than hitting myself like I did last week. So Corbin, he grabs one of the barbell or dumbbell plates. He throws it. It hits the mirror. This is what they did with the Johnny Gargano Tommaso Ciampa brawl at the Performance Center gym. He throws the barbell weight. It hits the mirror. It smashes the mirror into little itty bitty pieces. Corbin's, it was weird because they zoomed in on Corbin's face like he had seen a ghost. What was he worried about? He smashed the glass. So they'll take it out of your paycheck. What are you fucking worried about? They cut back and forth to Corbin's face. He couldn't believe what he had just done. It's a mirror, dude. They'll replace it. Don't worry about it. So Otis placed a heavy weight bar across. He has AJ on the ground. AJ Styles is down. He has a heavy weight bar. I don't know how much weight was on the bar, but the bar is laid out across AJ's chest. AJ can't move. He can't break free. And Otis goes off. Rey Mysterio, he's like begging Rey to come help get this weight off of him, and Rey ignores him, and Rey goes off. So AJ is trapped. Let me actually put the phone number up before I forget. I should probably do that. There you go. See, I always just, kind of forget sometimes. Mysterio ends up in the bathroom. Always a dangerous thing. Kind of reminds me of the Great American Bash. Dusty Rhodes on commentary. We got a lady in the men's bathroom. Kevin Sullivan and Chris Benoit. That's a favorite moment of mine in WCW history. The only commentary I would have accepted on this match is either Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan or something involving Dusty Rhodes. And unfortunately, all three men are dead. That's why I said it's better off we have no commentary at all. So Mysterio ends up in the bathroom, and he runs into Brother Love. They play Brother Love's music in the background. And Brother Love, I think he came out of one of the bathroom stalls, I believe. And, he does the whole, I love you. And Rey Mysterio goes, well, I love you too, but I gotta go. And off he goes. And then the last shot we have is of Bruce Pritchard zipping up his pants. I don't need to know what he was doing in the bathroom. I assume he was taking care of business. But there you go. Brother Love had a cameo here in this match. Actually, the key writers of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, they all made cameos. Vince McMahon made a cameo. Paul Heyman made a cameo. Bruce Pritchard made a cameo. They got all the writers, all the head writers involved here on this show. You can do that when you're writing the show. You can write yourself into the show. I probably would do the same thing. So we cut back to the women, and they're waiting for the elevator doors to open. I guess they're waiting for Asuka to come out. But instead of Asuka, the men spill out. Asuka, though, comes out of a different elevator, and she goes in a different direction. And all of a sudden, they're brawling in one of the lobbies or something. They had ring ropes. Now, why they had ring ropes, I had no idea. It was just some, waiting area, and they have ring ropes around the perimeter. Okay. Now they have a little recliner-type chair. All of a sudden, up from behind the recliner chair is some random dude dressed up as Doink. He's got the clown makeup on. He's got the green hair. That was creepy. That was creepy. I don't know what he was doing there. Got Bruce Pritchard in the bathroom zipping up his pants. You got a weird guy dressed as a clown. This sounds like a scandal here going on. What is going on inside Titan Tower? What kind of freak show do they have going on inside the corporate offices? Elsewhere, Nia Jax, Carmella, Shayna, Dana Brooke, they end up brawling into one of the conference rooms. Shayna and Nia, they come to blows. Dana Brooke, she knocks out Nia Jax from behind with a steel chair. So down goes Nia. And Dana looks up. And above the long conference room table in this room is a Money in the Bank briefcase. And I thought to myself, well, that's strange. I thought they had a brawl up to the roof. Maybe they were going to separate the men. Maybe the men are on the roof and the women are in the conference room. It's kind of like back in the day, we used to have battle royals, right? The men, of course, always went over the top rope. The women, it was okay if they went through the middle ropes. Those days are over. It's all about equality now. Everybody has to go out over the top rope. So everybody has to go to the roof. Dana grabs the briefcase and brings it down, and she's celebrating like she won. And then we have Stephanie McMahon. I don't think Stephanie was there. It looked like they spliced footage of her in there. And she's like, what's going on, Dana? She goes, no, the briefcase is on the roof. That's the briefcase. This is the Money in the Bank conference room. This was dumb. This was really stupid. Why would they have a fucking briefcase hanging in the conference room? I thought this was stupid. And Dana Brooke, of course, couldn't believe it. She thought she had the match won, and then all of a sudden, she had it taken away from her. Just like that. Just like that. Poof. She had victory snatched away from her. And we had Carmella knocking out Dana. She had this giant photo that she basically broke over Dana's head. And Carmella leaves the conference room. She walks right into a woman's right from Lacey Evans. Hey, Vince Russo, thank you for the $1.99 super chat, bro. Look at that. We got a $1.99 super chat from Vince Russo. I'm sure that is the real Vince Russo. Vince Russo would have loved this match. I'm surprised Vince Russo, if you would have asked me who booked this match, I would have guessed Vince Russo. This seems like a match that would be right up his alley. AJ Styles, he finally managed to free himself. He's looking around for Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio didn't help him earlier. Now he's going to fuck him up. So he's roaming the hallways. He's looking for Rey. He's opening doors. He's searching high and low. He is searching high and low for Rey Mysterio. Can't seem to find him. All of a sudden, he sees a picture on the wall of The Undertaker, the same Undertaker who buried him at WrestleMania. And he's taken aback by this photo. He's suddenly very scared. He opens the door to another room, and we see that Undertaker blue hue. It's got the blue Undertaker light. In the room is a casket. AJ is having PTSD flashbacks to what happened to him at WrestleMania. And all of a sudden, Aleister Black shows up. AJ turns around. Boom. Black mass kick right to the face. Knocks him into the room. Aleister closes the door, locks him in the room. And now AJ is locked in the room, and off goes Aleister Black. Elsewhere, we see Paul Heyman. Now, why would Paul Heyman be sitting around Titan Tower? They have Paul Heyman sitting at this long smorgasbord. Because you knew WWE would not be able to resist having a food fight here during this match. Surely you knew there would be a food fight. Now, I thought it would be in the cafeteria. This was not the cafeteria. But there's Paul Heyman. He's enjoying this feast. All this food. Was he going to eat all the food by himself? Boy, Paul Heyman's living large. So he's sitting there. He's about to eat. And, of course, at that moment, all the men, all the women, they end up right there in the room. Paul ends up with food all over him. Otis screams, food fight. And a giant food fight breaks out. Food is flying everywhere. In the middle of all of this, Shayna Baszler is choking out Rey Mysterio. I don't know if she realized she was choking Rey, if that was the joke, that she thought she had one of the women, and it turned out to be Rey. I don't know, but she choked out Rey Mysterio. Rey goes down. Nia Jax powerbombed Carmella through one of the tables that had food on it. So now Carmella is out. And then Nia comes face to face with the man who is chowing down on a hero sandwich, Otis. So we have Nia Jax and we have Otis face to face. And it's almost like they kind of give each other a nod almost of respect. and they both go their separate ways. One goes this way, the other person goes the other way. Otis ends up in the cafeteria, and he is very excited about this. He sees they have pies lined up. What kind of cafeteria is this? They just have pies laying around? Maybe I should take a job at WWE headquarters. If I took a job at WWE headquarters, I'd end up being 250 pounds. Otis sees a pie, he grabs the pie. All of a sudden, who sidles up to him in a little motor scooter? John Laurinaitis, Big Johnny. They play his music, People Power. And then he gets a pie in the face, and off goes Otis. So there's your John Laurinaitis cameo. It's all the agents. It's all the agents and the writers. I was kind of hoping they would bring maybe some legends in, but maybe they couldn't fly him in. I don't know. I have to remind myself that there's a global pandemic going on. You can't just fly anybody in. Some people are quarantined. They're hunkered down at home. Elsewhere, we have Asuka ends up in another part of the building, and there's a janitor who's sweeping floors. He's mopping the floor. He's not sweeping. He's mopping the floor. And Asuka asks him, how do I get to the roof? And off she goes, and the women are chasing after Asuka. Dana Brooke, and you knew where this was going. Dana Brooke comes running in. She slips on the wet floor. She hits her head on the floor. She's concussed. The cameraman is just filming this. Poor Dana's left to fend for herself with this horrible concussion. So she's down on the floor. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, they brawl into Vince McMahon's office. You knew that Vince McMahon was going to make a cameo here on the show. I was hoping he would. And there he was. Vince McMahon is sitting in his office. And AJ and Bryan, they bust into the office. And Vince is looking at them and they're looking at Vince. And Vince yells at them. He tells them to get out. And before they leave, they fix the chairs. Very sheepishly, they go over and they fix the chairs. And they leave. And the first thing Vince does, he takes hand sanitizer. Right? Vince McMahon has his bottle of Purell. Right? And he puts the Purell on. And he's washing his hands with the Purell because he's 74 fucking years old, and if he doesn't, he might die. There we go. I don't want Vince McMahon to die, so he should sanitize. Wash your hands and sanitize at all times. That's what I say. So that was the Vince McMahon cameo. He went back to work. He turned around, he went back to work. Outside, AJ and Bryan, they're talking about what just happened. Well, it was your idea to figure... They're playing it for comedy. So then they start brawling again. Finally, we make it to the roof. Nia Jax and Lacey Evans are brawling on the roof. Thank you, Jason Lemus, for subscribing to the channel, as we see Dancing Nakamura on my screen. That is the new subscriber animation. That actually is more screen time than Shinsuke Nakamura got on this pay-per-view. He just got screen time on my stream. It's kind of sad. So, Nia and Lacey are brawling on the roof. There's only one ring. Both briefcases are hanging above the one ring. So in order to get the briefcases, the men and women have to come into the same ring. I wasn't sure if there was going to be more than one ring. So that answers that question. Yes, I agree, by the way. Elijah in the chat. Vince McMahon's cameo was very underwhelming. I agree. They could have done more with him. Although I have to say, Vince McMahon... I jotted this down in my notes. I forgot to mention. When they got into the office and I looked at Vince McMahon sitting there, I just thought to myself, Vince McMahon has the body, he has the physique of a 30-year-old, but he's got the face of an 80-year-old. Am I the only one who sees this? Either people think, oh, he looks old and decrepit, or he looks great. He looks great from like the neck down. From the neck up, he kind of looks like the Crypt Keeper. Time has not been kind to Vince McMahon up here, but he's got the gun show going. He keeps himself in great shape. He's probably in that corporate gym every day for 2-3 hours a day. I'm not going to knock his physique. But yes, I agree. From the neck up, he looked half dead. He looked like he'd fit in very well on The Walking Dead. I hope he's okay. He looks very tired. That's what happens when you run a wrestling company in a football league and ratings are going down, and you're in the middle of a pandemic, and you have all this stress going on. The stock goes down, the stock goes up. It's going to be 75 years old in August. At what point do you say enough is enough? Enjoy the fruits of your labor. Let somebody else take over for a change. So both briefcases are hanging above the ring. Asuka is about to win. Nia has been taken out. Lacey Evans has been taken out. Asuka is climbing the ladder. She's going to win the briefcase. All of a sudden, Baron Corbin appears. Baron Corbin starts climbing the same ladder on the other side of the ladder. Asuka's on one side, Baron Corbin's on the other. This is one of my favorite parts of this whole match. So, Baron Corbin is climbing this ladder, and Asuka kicks him in the face so hard. She kicked this fucking guy in the face and knocked him all the way down. I laughed out loud. I laughed at that. That was great. So she knocks Corbin off the ladder, and Asuka unhooks the briefcase, and Asuka wins the Money in the Bank briefcase for the women. I had picked Shayna Baszler to win. That was my prediction. But I said earlier, if Asuka were to win, you get no argument out of me. Asuka is fantastic. It seems like Kairi Sane could be on her way out, just based on how they've been using her. She could be leaving soon. I'm not sure. Asuka deserves to be featured. Asuka's been one of the highlights of this show. All these empty arena shows, her being just wacky and everything. Now she's going to have a briefcase, and she'll get to take that thing all over the place with her. And you never know when she may cash in. So I like that. I like that Asuka got the win here. And Shayna Baszler, you know, I think she'll be fine. You know, in a match like this, there's just so much going on. She look, she choked out Rey Mysterio. She choked out a former world heavyweight champion. Now, granted, Rey Mysterio looks like a 16-year-old child. He's 5'0". But she choked out Rey Mysterio, future Hall of Famer. She wasn't involved in the finish. She didn't get knocked off the ladder. She didn't get thrown off the roof. She didn't get pinned. So I would not go too over the top here and say, oh my God, Shayna Baszler, she's dead, she's buried. Shayna Baszler will be okay. As long as they keep her, in that picture, she keeps, dominating and beating people and doesn't start getting beaten on TV, I think she'll be okay. I cannot hate on Asuka winning Money in the Bank. I can't sit here and hate on the fact that they gave Asuka that briefcase. Because you know what? Asuka deserves to be featured. Asuka deserves to be featured even more than she is. I know they play up a lot of her stuff for comedy, but Asuka, when she was a killer in NXT, she was at her best. And now Shayna Baszler is booked as the killer. You can't necessarily have two killers at once. I get that. I like the fact that Asuka can kind of flip the switch at any moment. She can be funny and be wacky, but if you piss her off, she can tear your head off. And that's kind of what I like about how they've positioned Asuka. So I'm fine with her winning this match here. I was going to, before I mentioned somebody being an unsung hero, I don't remember who it was. But I said, maybe it was Cesaro. I think I described him as being an unsung hero of the roster. Everybody knows how great Cesaro is, but I still don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. I can't say that Asuka is an unsung hero because she has been on TV. Everybody knows how great she is, but even still, I still don't think that she gets the credit that she deserves, as great as she is. And so maybe now with Money in the Bank, she'll be featured even more. So now Otis is here. Otis is on the roof, and as far as what happened to Otis, I'm going to tell you in a second, but let me play catch up on these super chats here. Because I keep forgetting. They keep coming in. Orlando Orrego, thank you for the $5. And Darius Smith also with the drop. I appreciate that. Leather Rebel. What's going on, Leather Rebel? Zane Decker. Shout out to Zane. Very talented videographer is Zane. Let's see here. Jared M. with the $20. Cinematic WWE needs to stay. I agree. They just can't overdo it. You can, in fact, have too much of a good thing. I don't want to see them go too overboard with the cinematic stuff, but 100% they should do more of it. Gavin Amy, thank you for the 12. Says, not Lashley or Jinder. Grado would be next in line for Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship because Grado beat Drew a few years ago in ICW in Scotland. Grado challenging for the WWE Championship. Really, Gavin? Grado? Come on. John Falchetta, thank you. Is Zelina Vega a widow now? Asking for everyone. That's a great point. See, John brings up a fantastic point, I must say. Everybody's going to be waiting in line now for Zelina Vega if she's now single again. Now, why is she single? Well, let's get into what happened here at the end of this match. Otis is back. He's on the roof. He tries climbing and he breaks the rungs of the ladder. Again, they did this on Friday because he's fat. I guess that's the whole story. So he breaks the rungs, even though we've seen people bigger than Otis climb, no problem. For whatever reason, the rungs of the ladder break when Otis tries to climb. Corbin is back, and he goes after him. And this is where we saw murder take place here on this show. Baron Corbin tossed Rey Mysterio off the roof. And not 2 seconds after he tossed him off the roof, you heard like a little thud, like a thud sound, right? Aleister Black comes over. He tosses Aleister Black off the roof. 2 seconds later, you hear a little thud noise. Even though there's supposedly 10 stories, I thought it was 7 stories, they said 10. They're 10 stories up. 2 seconds after they get thrown off. What do they have? Anvils tied to their ankles? They never explain this. They never explain. I am waiting with bated breath now to see how they explain this on television tomorrow night when we see Aleister Black back on TV without a scratch on him. Are they going to have footage of him dangling from the side of the building? They better. Because that's a hell of a magic trick if he shows up on TV without a scratch on him. But yeah, we witnessed 2 murders tonight. And they were committed by Baron Corbin. I mean, I've seen Baron Corbin murder TV shows before, but I've never actually seen him murder other people. He'll be featured on, I guess, the next season of Dark Side of the Ring. Will Baron Corbin. AJ Styles, he's climbing the ladder. Bryan, he's finally up there, Daniel Bryan. Otis is back up. So we're getting down to the finish here. Phenomenal forearm by AJ takes out Otis. It's AJ Styles and Baron Corbin. That's who it comes down to. AJ's on one side of the ladder. Corbin's on the other side of the ladder. They're reaching up for the briefcase. And they unhooked the briefcase. So now they're grappling for control of the briefcase. AJ's got it. Corbin's got it. Elias. See, what did I say earlier on the podcast, right? Elias, there he is with the cameo. Hits Baron Corbin from behind with the guitar. Knocks Baron Corbin off. AJ Styles has the briefcase, but he fumbles it. He'd fit right in on the New York Jets. He fumbles it. Down goes the briefcase, and who should be there to catch it, to make the recovery? Otis. Otis grabs the briefcase, they play his music, and Otis wins Money in the Bank. Wild card indeed. I told you, don't count out Otis. I said, don't do it. Don't count this guy out. They may want to swerve people and go with a very unconventional pick. He is one half of a tag team. And so Otis wins Money in the Bank, and he's standing there and he's saying, "Yo, Mandy, I did it." And he's just on top of the roof of the building. He's on top of the world. He's got the girl. He's got the briefcase. Otis is in the driver's seat right now. Otis is living his best life. Is Otis right now. And so Otis and Asuka are your Money in the Bank winners for 2020. They are the victors. What else is there to say? I mean, the whole thing was played more for comedy than I thought it would be. I knew there would be comedy in it. I didn't know that the whole match was basically going to be played for almost nothing but comedy. And I'm normally not a fan of taking your main events and wrapping them in comedy and making a joke. The Boneyard match, to me, that wasn't comedy. They filmed that almost like the climactic scene of a big movie where the Undertaker was, the big final showdown, and the Undertaker got his revenge on AJ Styles and he rode off. I mean, there really was nothing overly comedic about it. So I understand if people didn't have a whole lot of good things to say about this main event because they didn't like the comedy aspect of it. It was kind of hard to follow. They kept going back and forth. But I am, at a point where anything they can do outside of the Performance Center, when they can take matches like this and they can put them in a very unconventional atmosphere, film them cinematically, try something different with them, cut the commentary out, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. When the match was over, I enjoyed it. I sat here and I said to myself, you know what, that was fun. I thought that was fun. I cannot hate on that main event. It was very hokey at times. I didn't like every aspect of it. I thought the Stephanie thing was just stupid. I didn't like that. The Vince McMahon cameo was very underwhelming. I was kind of hoping there would be more cameos. So, little things like that. But I enjoyed the main event. I would give the show overall a very, very slight thumbs up because I thought the undercard was kind of weak. Pay-per-view ended a lot earlier than I thought it would. But thumbs up or thumbs down, I would have to go thumbs up, honestly. A very slight thumbs up, I would say, on this show. What did you guys think? Let's go find out. Let's check the Twitter poll. I have no idea. I'm going to guess that there were more thumbs up than thumbs down, but I haven't looked. So let's find out what people thought so far, because we have a lot of votes in. And I'm right on the money. There it is. We've got over 2,400 votes in already. What the hell did you think of that Money in the Bank show? 71% thumbs up, about 29% thumbs down. People seem to be in agreement. On the whole, I mean, that's positive score. You can't argue with that. Very interested now to go through all the comments a little bit later under the poll and see what you guys thought. You can still vote, by the way, at Solomonster. There's my handle. You see it right there. So go on Twitter and vote and let your voice be heard. What did you think of Money in the Bank 2020? We got some news. We're not even close to done yet. I got some news on a certain someone. I think you guys know who. But before we get to that, let me shout out Zachary Francis for the $5. Do you find it annoying that ex-WWE stars like Moxley, Brody, The Revolt use Chris Jericho's podcast merely to complain about the company? I disagree. I just reviewed the Revival's interview earlier today on Talk is Jericho. I didn't think they were complaining at all. I thought they were just being honest. I actually thought that it was the least controversial of or groundbreaking of all the interviews that we've seen with ex-WWE talent. I thought they were being very honest. I thought they were being very fair. They were just relaying their experiences, and they were explaining why they had to get out of the company. But, they recognized the fact that they made a good living there, and, they just weren't focusing on the tag team division. Jericho's podcast has become the place for people to go because it gets a lot of attention. But also, these are people that are going to end up in AEW. So there's a reason they're not going on somebody else's podcast, and they're going on Jericho's podcast. So I think we know where the Revival is going to end up. It doesn't seem like too much of a stretch to figure out where they're going to end up. Shinzo the Great, thank you for the super chat. King Bling BLA says, Mandy's birthday is July 18th. Otis gifts the Money in the Bank to Mandy. I wouldn't do that. You're going to gift the men's Money in the Bank? It's a men's Money in the Bank. Unless Mandy Rose is getting some kind of operation that I'm not aware of between now and July, I don't think that's a good idea. Santiago, thank you for the $10. Happy Mother's Day to Mama Monster. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. Thank you very much. Jacob Harrison, thank you for the $5. Says, I gave a copy of Hardy the Horse to a friend for Mother's Day. That's very nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's my mother's children's book. The Adventure of Hardy the Horse. That's very nice of you. Thank you. You can get that on Amazon, by the way. Willmantic80 seems very happy that Asuka won. And Patrice, easy for me to say, Patrice Herbert and Oofman Entertainment, thank you for the $5. We'll, I got a lot of catching up to do. Don't worry, I'm not going nowhere. You guys got me for a little while longer. I don't got anything better to do. I'm not going anywhere. But let's talk about this. I guess we probably should at this point talk about this guy. Take a look at this guy on your screen if you are tuning in live, if you are tuning into the video portion of this stream. What you see on your screen is a news story that broke earlier this afternoon. This was after I had already finished the podcast earlier today. Look at that picture. The face only a mother can love. Why is he sucking his lips in like that? Do you have some kind of drug problem? It's a very odd-looking photo, don't you think? Alberto Del Moron was back in the news today. What you see on your screen is a news article from the Fox television affiliate in San Antonio, Texas. The headline, Man allegedly assaults woman, tells her he'll drop son in the middle of the road. It says a man has been arrested and is facing charges of sexual assault after he reportedly assaulted a woman on May 4th. The victim reported to police that at 10 p.m. the night before, Jose A. Rodriguez, now I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I don't know if it's Chukawan or Chuquan. I'm going to say Chukawan, if that's the way you pronounce it. Jose A. Rodriguez Chukawan, who they never, by the way, in this entire article, they never identify who he is. They never identify him as a professional wrestler, one who was, at one point, very visible. He was a world heavyweight champion. He was on television every single week. If that doesn't show you how far his career has fallen, they don't even acknowledge him as an but as a professional wrestler. He's just some random dude. They say that he had become angry with a woman and assaulted her, causing multiple injuries to her body. When reporting the crime to police, the victim also said that he slapped her across the head. When she asked him what he was doing, he allegedly slapped her over the head again. The victim told police they walked downstairs. He forced her to wear a dress and to dance for him. She told him that she didn't want to, and he said not to cry, because if she did, he would take her son and drop him in the middle of the road somewhere. Well, that's nice. What a nice guy. Of course, it's all alleged. Got to be fair about this. This is all alleged. But you tell me, who do you believe in this circumstance? Look at that photo, and you tell me who you believe in this circumstance. It says, according to the arrest affidavit, the woman told police that Chukuan allegedly sexually assaulted her and had her injuries photographed. So there are photographs, apparently, of this woman's injuries. I don't know, as far as the sexual assault is concerned, if there is DNA evidence, that's going to be a huge mark against him. Doesn't say anything about that. So I don't know what kind of evidence has been collected at this point. According to PW Insider, arrest records note that Del Rio was taken into custody yesterday, even though this happened about a week ago. He was taken into custody yesterday and was later released on $5,000 bond. I have not heard Alberto Del Rio's name mentioned since probably the end of last month. I guess it was the end of April. He no-showed a podcast appearance. He was due to appear on some Lucha podcast. And he no-showed the podcast appearance without informing the hosts. So he was scheduled for a live chat on the show called Lucha TV. And he just simply didn't show up. He didn't text them. He didn't message them. He didn't call them. He didn't give them a heads up about anything. He didn't say, I'm feeling sick, or I'm in traffic, or a family emergency, or just didn't show up. And so these two poor guys who were planning, they probably had this whole interview mapped out with this guy. They were left to sit there with their thumb up their ass, and they had to basically talk to themselves for an hour. So I had just heard that not even 2 weeks ago. That's the last I heard of what was going on in the world of Alberto Del Rio. Now, that's a far cry. I mean, no showing a podcast appearance is a far cry from what he's now being accused of, which is rape. I mean, he's being accused of sexual assault. So those are two totally different things. But either way, I feel like every time I hear this guy's name mentioned, you just kind of instinctively know that the news is going to be bad. It's never going to be something positive. You're not going to hear that, Alberto Del Rio was in the news. He just made this great big donation to some kind of charity, or he just saved somebody from, being hit by a bus, or you know that you're not going to hear something like that about him. You know that it's going to be something negative. You know that it's going to be something bad. As soon as you hear his name mentioned, he got in a fight. He no-showed an event, which he's notorious for, by the way. Not just podcast appearances. He's no-showed a lot of different events over the years. But it was only a month ago he appeared on some Mexican television show, and he claimed that the lines of communication were reopened between him and WWE, and that he had had conversations with Vince McMahon, and there was talk about him maybe coming back to the company, and that he was expecting to be back in WWE possibly by midsummer. Possibly by sometime in July. he was going to be back in WWE. And I remember hearing that at the time and thinking, WWE does not need Alberto Del Rio back on the roster. You know, there was a time where maybe the company was looking for that next big Latin star, and he was, you know, he fit all the criteria. He can speak English. He looked the part. He was a very good wrestler. I mean, he was very successful in WWE. WWE champion, World Heavyweight champion, United States champion, Royal Rumble winner, Money in the Bank winner. This guy is an accomplished star in WWE. And he just pissed it all away by being an idiot. And by being stupid. Stuff with Paige, everything else, all the different incidents that he's been involved in. But, you know, he went around claiming that he was coming back, and he had talked to Vince McMahon, and then word leaked from WWE, according to some of these websites, that we have not talked to Alberto Del Rio. We have no interest in talking to Alberto Del Rio. We have no interest in bringing Alberto Del Rio back to the company. It is bullshit. And I kind of breathed a sigh of relief. WWE does not need Alberto Del Rio. WWE never needed Alberto Del Rio. He's the last person that they need to bring into the company at this moment. And at no point has Alberto Del Rio demonstrated that he's any kind of draw that the company would have to chase after him and throw a bunch of money at him to bring him back in. There was no indication ratings-wise, tickets, buy rates, I mean, anything, even merch. I never heard about Alberto Del Rio being at the top of the food chain in that company. There was never any indication that I'm aware of that he was any kind of real draw for the company. So you tell me, why does WWE need to get back into business with Alberto Del Rio? They don't. Alberto Del Rio needs WWE a lot more than they need him. Why anybody would even want to touch this guy? He is so toxic at this point. I have no idea why any promotion would want to do business with him at all. He's not a proven draw, not in this country. Maybe in Mexico he is. Never been a proven draw here. Always ends on bad terms. Or gets into some kind of incident or gets involved in some kind of trouble. Makes an ass out of himself. Alberto Del Rio is better left in the dustbin of wrestling history. This guy's been nothing but a fuck up. Ever since he left WWE. One incident after another. They don't need him. They don't want him. And now he's potentially in a lot of hot water. Because if they have the evidence on this, if things are borne out that something did happen here, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And he may not be able to skate from this so easily. But this is a headache, believe me, that WWE does not need. That I can tell you. Andrew Lolavar, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. We've got, we got a whole bunch of people subbing. I love to see that. I love to see all the new subscribers here. Slay Fox 100 Trons. It's an interesting name. Thank you for the contribution. Magician Sapphire. What's going on, Magician? Thank you for the $10 Russo on a poll, bro. Juan Ocampo. Enjoying the stream in my new apartment. Well, congratulations. Hopefully you're enjoying the stream on a nice big HD TV. By the way, you know, with the video and everything now, not that I'm using some kind of high-end $1,000 camera, although I am looking into one of those high-end cameras for streaming. I don't know how necessary it is. But if you are watching this on your television, on big HD TV, let me know how it looks. Hopefully it looks halfway decent. Because I'm trying to enhance the experience for all of you. So you can drop some feedback for me and let me know. Jackie Williamson, thank you for the $5. He says, I work at Hooters in Manhattan. Lucky you. Welcome to a free meal from Hooters if you want. I love how you invite me now. Come on, dude. You invite me to Hooters now when nobody is going out to restaurants. I mean, I'd order takeout if I was closer, but I'm all the way in Brooklyn. I ain't got no Hooters around here. Not that Hooters, anyway. Can't invite me to Hooters in the middle of a pandemic and expect me to show up. But if we ever get through all of this, I will happily take you out on your, or take you up rather, on your offer. Yes, Ryan, I understand. Yes, Ryan, I understand. I took the video off for a second. I'm talking more abstractly when you see the video. Hopefully it looks okay for you. See, now I'm back on camera. Hello, everybody. Gary Smith, thank you for the $10. Besides your Russo bashing at times, love the show. P.S. Your Mets segment is still your best segment ever. See, we got a big Vince Russo fan here. Alrighty then. Let's see here. Well, we got Keith Hart, $20, driving to Florida now to console Zelina. Yeah, Zelina Vega, she's apparently widowed after tonight. So, if you want to send her a nice gift, extend your condolences, just give her a shoulder to lean on. Now is the time. Rey Mysterio, by the way, Rey Mysterio's wife is also a widow. After what we saw tonight. Don't forget about her. Rey Mysterio's got a wife too, by the way. Aleister Black is not the only married man who was in that match. Uffman Entertainment, thank you for the $2. And James Adair, thank you for the 10 spot. I think we are finally caught up on that, but as they come in, I will read more. But we've gotten now to the point in the stream. I mentioned early on that I was going to be hosting for WrestleRumble.com, a very special giveaway. We are giving away two. Let me show them to you so you know what we're dealing with here. We're giving away two classic tag team championship belts. There you see them on the screen. They're not WWE belts per se, but they are the classic tag team championships. There was a raffle. I know a lot of you have already participated. I guess you had until 7 o'clock tonight to pay for an entry into the contest. Wrestle Rumble asked me if I would be so kind, knowing that I was going live tonight, if I would help host the stream so that people can see it. They can see how it works. They can see how random it is. I have not participated in this because that would have just been very unfair. So I am not in the running here. But if you are, before we move on here, I think now is the time. We are going to choose a winner. So what you see on your screen right now is so exciting. This is so exciting. I love picking winners here on this show. So what you see here on your screen right now is the website random.org. Random.org has this cool thing called a list randomizer. And so what that's going to allow me to do here is I just import the list of all of the names of the people who paid for an entry into this contest. And what I am going to do right now, and if for whatever reason you're not seeing this, let me know, but you should be able to see everything as I'm doing it. I just pasted all of the names of the participants in the text box, and I just want to show you how many names there are. There are a lot of names. I don't know the exact, well, I guess it might show you the exact number. I think there's like 150 something, somewhere between 150 and 200 names here. And they've already been randomized. There you see them. That's all of them. The way this is going to work is very simple. I'm going to push a button, and when the list comes up, all of the names are going to be numbered. Today is May 10th, and so I've decided that whoever is listed at number 10 on the list, you are going to be the winner of the contest, and you are going to win the tag team championships. You will be the tag team champions. It's as simple as that. The risk is worth the reward. Thank you, Kane, in the chat. He's right. The risk is worth the reward. Here we go. I should have queued up a drum roll, but anyway. Here we go. Remember, number 10. Whoever comes up number 10, you are the winner. Here we go. There it is. And there's our winner, Anthony Montero. Congratulations to Anthony Montero. You are the winner of the Classic Tag Team Championships. I assume Wrestle Rumble will be in touch with you. I'm going to let him take over at this point. All I was doing was just hosting the contest, hosting the contest here on the stream. So there you go. The risk is worth the reward. Congratulations to Anthony Montero. You are indeed the winner of the Classic Tag Team Championship belts. And everyone go to WrestleRumble.com and support Wrestle Rumble. He does a lot of fun contests. He's a good dude. And again, congratulations to Anthony. One more time here real quick. There is the Twitter poll you see on your screen. You can still vote. Most of you really enjoyed Money in the Bank tonight. And now we get to hear from some of you because I want to be taking some of your calls here before we wrap up here on the stream in a little while. But there you go. At Solomonster, for those of you who do want to vote, you can always do so. At Solomonster, I have polls up every week from Raw and SmackDown. I want everybody to see my polls. Okay? Every week. That's the place to go do it. So you see the number on your screen, 989-282-SOLO. The lines are all jammed up, as they are, of course, all the time. Because when are they not? What did you think of Money in the Bank? Let us go out west to 714, and we shall find out with 714 what he thought of the pay-per-view tonight. 714.
Hey, yo, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
It's Chris Manson, not Charles Manson, not Chris Hansen, Chris Manson.
Well, thank you for
what I thought
I'm glad you clarified that. I thought, I didn't want to think I was talking to Chris Hansen. I didn't do anything wrong, so I mean, I have nothing to be worried about. But Alberto might, but not me.
I actually like Money in the Bank. I like how they made it look like a reality show, like when they're doing their entrances. And Daniel Bryan's just like, all right, you guys ready to fight? I thought that was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, they had little moments like that, even like little comments that Otis would make, that Bryan would make. Yeah. AJ, I thought AJ was pretty funny. Like, I thought the comedy in the main event, mostly worked. I enjoyed it.
I'm surprised they didn't do like a spot where like Corbin is hitting Alistair at the end of the hallway, and then Alistair just shows up at the other side of the hallway. And one thing that really was weird was that how Baron Corbin and Asuka were just fighting over each other on top of the ladders. Like, wouldn't you grab your respective briefcase instead of just fighting each other?
Yeah, that was kind of dumb. I mean, I agree. I mean, you got one for the women, one for the men. It's not that hard, right? They're on both sides of the ladder. You can just grab your respective briefcase. It's not that big of a deal. But look, then we would have been deprived of seeing Asuka kick Corbin in the face, which I rather enjoyed.
Yeah, it's true. And the thing with Otis is that, like, I guess strike while the iron is hot, but like, I just see this being as like a maybe 1 month honeymoon. He'll probably lose it somehow or something.
Oh, he's gonna lose.
I hope not, but
I
don't see him winning the championship.
No. Yeah, I don't see him winning the championship. Would Tucker turn on him? He's got a tag team partner now. Maybe who's going to be a little jealous of the fact that Otis is going to be challenging for the world championship, or is it going to be Sonya Deville or something, or is Mandy going to turn on him? I think that's the story they're probably going for. But yeah, I can't imagine that Otis is going to beat, Braun Strowman or The Fiend to win the championship.
Yeah, especially if The Fiend does end up winning the championship, like, it's over for Otis and for Drew McIntyre. Like, I don't see both of them losing like anytime soon. Yeah. So rest in peace, Otis, I guess.
Yeah, I don't see it happening anytime soon either. But any other thoughts? I mean, on the rest of the show, any of the other matches besides the main event?
That's all I got. I like the tag team match with Lucha House Party. I actually thought they were gonna pull it off for a second, but well.
Yeah, I said earlier, I thought Lucha House Party was excellent. They were for me, Grand Metalik was the standout in that opening match. And I'm going to let you go now, but I think that Grand Metalik is somebody who, when he first came to WWE, I heard a lot about Grand Metalik and how he was one of the most talented wrestlers, one of the most extraordinary luchadors in the world, and he can go far if WWE they know how to handle him. And then, of course, he was reduced to doing comedy. Lucha House Party used to come down to the ring with piñatas, and WWE didn't take him seriously. But Grand Metalik is seriously, from everything I had heard before he even came to the company, one of the very best in the world. You would never know it the way that he's, booked and positioned. But we got glimpses of how freaking good this guy is on this show tonight. Some of the things he was doing in there, he was fantastic. And look, Lince Dorado, I'm not taking anything away from him either. So Lucha House Party didn't win tonight, but in a way they kind of did, because I thought they really had the standout performance in that tag team championship match. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that very much. Matthew Rice, thank you for the $20, man. I really appreciate that. It says, greetings from Jacksonville. As always, thank you for the content. Have you ever thought about doing a live stream while watching a match on YouTube? Yeah, the watch-alongs, I've thought about it. I don't know. I mean, just sit here like that for 3 or 4 hours. I feel like my computer would burn out if I sat here for that long. I don't know. I mean, is there a thirst for that? Would people want me? I mean, how would that even work? I'd have to mute the sound. do my own commentary over the shows. Yeah, maybe not. That might not be a bad idea, especially with these empty arena shows. Can kind of give my own commentary. I would be open to it. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'd be open to it if enough people wanted to see it. Jackie Williamson, thank you for the $5. Says thanks for calling me. Says thanks for calling me a dude. I work for Hooters for crying out loud. Wow, boy, I fucked up on that one, didn't I? Says I work for Hooters for crying out loud. But you are more than welcome here. My brother loves listening to you. Jackie, I'm sorry. I think I just kind of assumed maybe you were like the head person when you first walk in or something. I mean, there's got to be some guys who work at Hooters. But you're right. That's a brain fart on my part. I just wish there was one closer to where I live. We got one on Long Island. We got one in the city. We don't have any around here. But thank you. I might take you up on that invitation at some point. Boy, do I feel dumb. Let's go to a different part of the country. Let us go to what I believe is the city of Baltimore. 410. Is this Baltimore?
Yep. How's it going, Jason?
Doing well. Is this Mario or Mario?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Do you have my number saved or something?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
Oh.
But I wanted to make sure I was pronouncing it because I've been yelled at before for saying Mario. And they're like, no.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's not Mario, it's Mario. I'm like, when I grew up, it was Super Mario Brothers. Am I wrong?
Well, let me correct you. As a holder of the name, it is definitely Mario.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I want to make sure I get it right.
But I'm not bad.
I want to make...
I'm not bad. It's fine.
Okay. I want to make sure I get it right. What'd you think of the pay-per-view?
Well, I also had the drinking game with the fan, with my friend. His name is George. He's in Switzerland. And it was awesome. Honestly, though, I'm going to tell you this. Like, it was a very predictable show. Aside from the end, like, we all knew that Braun is not losing the title. We all knew that Drew is not losing the title. We kind of predicted that the New Day is going to retain because they just won the title. But, like, the whole, like, no one, like, won anything. Like, there's no exchanging of the belts. All the champions return, so I guess champs are not chumps anymore. So
well, we also didn't have the Intercontinental title defended. We didn't have the United States Championship defended, which is ridiculous because if you think about what they've done with Andrade since he came back, even when he wrestles, it feels like most of the time he's losing anyway. But we didn't have either one of those titles defended on the show. For one night at least,
or Becky Lynch.
One night at least, the champions were actually put over strong, which, hey, I can't hate on that.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you this. I liked the main event. I didn't like. I was getting bored before, like, until the Money in the Bank matches. I did not think that they were gonna like smush both matches together. That was unique. Yeah, that was new. And the interaction, I loved. There was some like fun interaction between the guys and the girls. But honestly, like the match itself, we didn't get any, like, they could have done so much more with it. Like they could have done something with the ladders. Like we didn't get any cool ladder spots. The match is basically them chasing each other and trying to stop each other from like getting to the elevator.
It was a rat race. It was a rat race. There was a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a movie that came out many years ago with a whole bunch of celebrities in it. I think Whoopi Goldberg was in it. It was called Rat Race.
Goldberg.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that.
That's what this felt like. That's what this felt like.
Yeah, they could have done like a little bit extra at the end with the ladders, but they didn't. And I'm pretty happy that Asuka won. Like I'm good with it. My prediction was actually Carmella. For some reason, I thought that they were gonna give her like the whole two-time Miss Money in the Bank, but I guess not. I'm actually pretty happy that Asuka won. She's pretty cool. And as for Otis, I'm probably in the minority here that actually didn't like this. Like I get that he's the big baby face and he's getting the big push. They're striking while the iron is hot, but I believe that it's kind of too soon. Like they're trying to get on the momentum of Otis, but I feel like it's kind of too soon. So I'm like, I get it. It was probably like they just like had it like it's a match that had AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, like, you know, well established stars, and then they gave the bag to Otis, the briefcase to Otis. I get it. It's a swerve, bro. It's a total swerve. I get it. But so what do you think will happen here? Is he gonna like someone's gonna like challenge him for the briefcase? Or are we gonna like get to SummerSlam and see Mandy on one shoulder and a title on the other for Otis, or Tucker will turn, or maybe he'll give the briefcase to Mandy to cash it in for herself as like a token of their love? Or
yeah, no,
like I predicted a lot of.
Yeah. No, let me stop you there. So, because somebody made that proposition before, and again, that's a great question, but I don't think that he's going to give. He might try to give the briefcase to Mandy, but if they allow that, that's completely fucking stupid. So hopefully they don't do that, because that would be a waste of a briefcase. But I think you can't discount the possibility of Tucker. You know, Tucker might have an issue here. You know, they're part of a tag team, and now Otis is going to be preoccupied with challenging for the world championship. He's going to be walking around with this blue lunchbox or whatever color it is, and there could be some jealousy there. You know, there could be little seeds planted. Or maybe Mandy turns on him. You know, the whole story where the guy gets the girl is too good to be true, and she ends up turning on him. I hope not. I see that as being less of an issue. I think either Tucker turns, or when it comes time for Otis to cash in, he just falls short. Some guys just can't get the job done. Damien Sandow had a competitive match with John Cena, but he lost. Baron Corbin, he lost. I mean, he looked like a fucking idiot doing it, but there are ways to do it where Otis can be competitive, but just lose cleanly. Doesn't always have to be a swerve. Doesn't always have to be a big turn. It depends how long he's going to hold on to it for. He's got a year. There's no need to rush. There's no need to have him, you know, cash it in next week. Let him hold on to it for a while, you know, and build intrigue, and then they can. I'm not even sure they figured out what they're going to do. You know, a lot of times you hear stories where this person should win, and then they don't have a plan. We'll just have them win. We'll come up with a plan along the way. I'm not sure WWE knows what they're going to do with Otis yet. You know, they may try to figure it out after the fact. But I don't see any reason to take it off him so soon. Let him hold on to it for a little bit. We have a whole bunch of calls. I am going to get to you, but let me just play catch up here with the Super Chats. David Adams. Is that the David Adams? Is that the HOG David Adams? I don't know. David Adams is a very talented ring announcer from House of Glory, so let me know if that's you. That Stephanie McMahon appearance was garbage, says David Adams. Brian Pissarra, thank you for the $10. What if Dolph Ziggler challenges... hey, there I am on the screen. What if Dolph Ziggler challenges Otis to a match and puts up the briefcase and he wins it? That's possible, too. If he defends the briefcase, he could drop it that way. Also, very disappointing if he does that. And we've seen Dolph Ziggler. You're going to give the briefcase to Dolph Ziggler? Like we haven't seen this before? Dolph Ziggler had one of the greatest Money in the Bank cash-ins in WWE history. Dolph Ziggler should not have the Money in the Bank briefcase in 2020. I think that would be a bad idea. Mark Winsley. What's going on, Mark? Good to hear from you again. Funniest moment, everybody chasing Asuka up the stairs, minus Nia, who waited for the next elevator. I missed that part, actually. I didn't see that part. And Charles Capone, thank you for the Russo on a Pole, $10. Been listening for 7+ years. Thank you for the content week in and week out. P.S. Do you like s'mores? I don't. I've never been big on marshmallows. I never roasted marshmallows, s'mores. I never did that when I was a kid. I kind of find it a little gross, to be honest with you. I don't know, I was never really into it. So, dry chicken without flavor. Thank you. AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin versus Otis for the briefcase to settle the possible controversy. Look, there is no controversy. I guess they could play it up for controversy if they wanted to, but Otis and Corbin and Styles, they're on different shows. AJ's on Raw. Otis and Corbin are on SmackDown. I'm not even sure how you would do that match. You know, there's no controversy. He caught it. They played his music. They announced him as the winner. Seems pretty cut and dry to me. I don't really see where the controversy comes from. But this is WWE. They can pretty much do whatever they want. Let's go to 716. You're on the air.
Good evening, Solomonster. This is Dan from Niagara Falls, New York. How are you doing tonight?
Good, Dan. Good evening. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Staying safe. Hopefully you are doing as well.
I'm trying to.
Downstate, that is. Yeah, but, overall, I thought this was, the WWE Championship match between Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins, I thought was very good. And while the main event was, pretty silly and stuff, it was entertaining. And glad they went with probably two of the most entertaining personalities, with Asuka and Otis winning. I guess my question is, with the following pay-per-view coming up, like with these empty arena shows, I mean, WrestleMania, we had the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse match. And there were a couple of good, empty arena matches, too. And this one was the Money in the Bank match. Would Backlash have to do, another one of these gimmick matches and stuff? And possibly, I don't know, maybe a good main title match in order to, keep interest? Because I don't see how it can not do it and, have people not watch it or something.
You talking about drumming up interest in the Backlash pay-per-view?
Yeah, I mean, no offense to what AEW is doing. I mean, I was debating even buying that show just because, I mean, the Lance Archer Cody Rhodes match is interesting, but the other ones are on the fly, and it's not like they're gonna have any gimmick matches, but at least they got people out there. But with WWE, I mean, they have that one gimmick match, the cinematic matches. At least they're trying to do something different, with at least one of those. So would you see one of, a gimmick or cinematic matches at Backlash, or do you think they would have to do something like that for every pay-per-view until things get normal, or?
Yeah, they might. I could see them looking at it and going, we should have at least one on every show. But if you do one every single month, I mean, number one, it might get old, but number two, I mean, you got to find different locations to do it. You can't just do it cinematically at the Performance Center. So they've done matches in a boneyard. They've done matches at WWE headquarters. What do they do next? They go to a junkyard? Where are they going to go? I mean, you could run out of ideas very quickly. So I could see them doing it every month. I wouldn't. I would maybe do it every other month or something. I just think at some point, it could be overkill, but the question is, do they have enough ideas for locations, where they can do it? We're heading into the summer. We know we're going to get SummerSlam. We don't know where it's going to be. If SummerSlam is back at the PC, maybe they can pick a match and have some kind of match on a beach somewhere. Maybe not the whole pay-per-view, but they could do a match at a beach. So I think with the summer coming up, you could take advantage of that, the whole seasonal aspect of it, but I don't know. Do they have enough content to do 12 cinematic matches a year?
Yeah, it's just a tough situation right now. I mean, I know the company's been pretty creatively bankrupt for a while and stuff, but I mean, I give them props at least for trying to do something a little bit different. And just one more question before I let you go, and stay safe and stay well and all that. You talked about unsung heroes, or Cesaro, definitely unsung. Two, I don't know, which one out of these two would you consider to be the biggest unsung, and maybe WWE or pro wrestling? Jim Johnston for his contribution to music, or Chris Nowinski for his contribution to concussion research and all that?
That's a good question. I think Nowinski is doing great work. There's no doubt about that. I would personally go with Jim Johnston because he's just been so instrumental to so much success, I think, that people have had in this company. I mean, think of the biggest names and the biggest stars, and their theme music is so iconic. It's just so Stone Cold, The Rock, The Undertaker, all the different Undertaker themes from over the years, Degeneration X, and I mean, all of these different acts, and he had such an important role to play, and you would almost never hear his name mentioned. I mean, there was every now and then you get a little profile on him, but there's so many people who have no idea who Jim Johnston even is. Not only do I think he's an unsung hero in that company, he belongs in their Hall of Fame. Absolutely 100% Jim Johnston. I know it's not the flashiest induction, but one day Jim Johnston belongs in the WWE Hall of Fame. His contributions cannot be minimized. How important he has been to the success of so many people in that company, and how important theme music has become from the first opening beat of a theme song. You know exactly who's about to come out, and he had a lot to do with that. It was his vision. He came up with a lot of that music. So, not trying to downplay what Chris Nowinski has done, but for me, you talk about unsung heroes in that company, you're talking about Jim Johnston. He's definitely got to be near the top of that list. Let's go to 520.
Hey, it's Stu out of Tucson, Arizona. How you doing
Stu.
tonight, Jason?
Good, Stu. How are you?
Not so bad. So I jumped into Money in the Bank right as Bayley's match started. And, I kind of enjoyed the pay-per-view. I got to say, even though the SmackDown women's title match was like, meh, but I really enjoyed Bayley's shit-talking. And I've been following her on Twitter, and I like how she just annoys the shit out of Michael Cole all the time. It's fantastic. Definitely my match of the night had to be Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. I thought they put on a great match, but I feel like that match would have been so much better in front of a crowd.
Yeah, but you know what though? You could say that about every match though, right? I mean, not just their match. You could say that about almost even like the ladder matches, like WrestleMania and stuff like that. It brings down all the matches. I think what made their match even better tonight is the fact that in spite of there being no crowd, they still went out there for 20 minutes and had this excellent match. I was never bored.
Right, and I absolutely enjoyed that match. The Bray Wyatt and Strowman match, there was like a piece of me that was just hoping it would, like, at some point they would have just edited it and, turned it into a Firefly Funhouse match or something, just because I completely agreed with you during your prediction show, how you said, like, these two don't match up very well for a wrestling match, and they really didn't. Like, I understood the story they were trying to tell, but, like, I couldn't find myself getting into it. Like, I just can't get into Mr. Rogers Wyatt while he's wrestling, and I just don't know why. Like, I don't know what it is about that.
Well, he's wearing a sweater. He's wearing a sweater.
Right.
What's not to get? I mean, there's nothing exciting about it at all.
When the puppets popped up, I was like, oh, my God, this is hokey as shit.
Look, the whole gimmick. The whole gimmick is hokey. I mean, the guy talks to fucking puppets every day. I mean, obviously, the whole gimmick is hokey, but I enjoy seeing Ramblin' Rabbit. I got a soft spot for Ramblin' Rabbit. We didn't see him die tonight. I thought maybe Ramblin' Rabbit would take a header off the tower, but he didn't.
I was expecting Braun Strowman to like rip his head off or something, just like.
Well, then he would have become a heel.
Joke.
Well, he would have been an instant heel. Can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that. All the little kids that are supposed to be Braun Strowman fans would be scared shitless if they saw him do that.
That'd be fantastic, though. But I really enjoyed the Money in the Bank. I like the whole cinematic setup, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of popped at the whole Vince McMahon segment, how the guys just like were fighting. As soon as he looked at them, they just kind of cowered, like, we're sorry. That it just kind of made me laugh because I was like, well, this is kind of like art imitating life, because I'm pretty sure a lot of young wrestlers go into his office timid like that. But I really enjoyed Asuka winning. I'm just imagining her running around with that briefcase, scaring all the women that are holding titles right now. Honestly, I would love to see her cash in on Charlotte, go to NXT again, because at least, when Triple H was booking her, he actually appreciated her work and, actually booked her as the monster that she should be.
Oh, that's intriguing. If Asuka was to cash in on Charlotte, and let's say she won the championship, and that sends Charlotte back to Raw or SmackDown, since she's not really, certainly ratings-wise, it's not made any kind of difference on NXT if that's why they moved her. But like the idea of getting Asuka and Io in NXT is actually very appealing to me now that you bring that up as a possibility. I don't think that's going to happen, but Asuka and Io Shirai, I guess the question is, would it matter? Would you rather it be in NXT, or would you rather they promote Io to Raw and do something with the two of them on Raw? Or maybe they don't do anything with them, but her cashing in on Charlotte, I don't know.
The mark in me would enjoy Io Shirai and Asuka more in NXT, just because I feel like even if they bring her up to the main roster, I don't think Vince would know what to do with her. I think he would just, see her as just another.
I can't believe I just said that. You just reminded me. Why am I even talking about Io Shirai coming to the main roster. That's horrible. It's horrifying. Why would I even suggest such a thing? Pretend I didn't say that. I regret the fact I even suggested something like that. That's horrible. Yeah, let's forget that.
Yeah, and I totally didn't see Otis winning, but it kind of made me laugh when I saw the finish, just because it just brought me back to like Styles winning the Ultimate X in TNA like that, where I couldn't remember if it was Sabin and I can't remember who it was, but they were playing tug of war with the belt when they pulled it down from the X, and then AJ like leaped across and slapped the belt down and caught it, and that's how he won. So when I saw that, the briefcase went down and then Otis caught it, I was like, well, that's a little ironic. AJ was part of both of those.
Yeah, I didn't actually make that connection. Wasn't there like an Ultimate X match where AJ took this horrible bump, like on the way down? Like maybe he grabbed the X but fell, and just the way he landed, he almost killed himself. Or am I thinking of somebody else? I don't remember now, but
all those X Division guys killed themselves.
Yeah,
in
AJ was a lot.
Matches,
He was a lot crazier back then. He's 42 now, I think, and he's not taking bumps like that no more. So yeah, I think he's earned the right not to. But anyway, anything else before I let you go?
Where would you think this this is going to go with Otis? Do you think they'll actually let him run with the briefcase and cash in and win a title, or do you think he's going to join the list of guys who may cash in but lose, or like maybe Tucker cost him, his shot or something? Like I couldn't see him winning. He's charismatic. For right now, I just don't see him as a world champion, and I think it's just going to take time to build him there. I don't know where they go with this.
Yeah, he's not a world champion. Not right now. Maybe one day, but I see him falling short, or there's some kind of controversy where maybe he does put the briefcase on the line and loses it, and he never actually has the chance to, defend it. Maybe Sonya has Mandy in a guillotine, like a literal guillotine, has her head in the guillotine. She's going to chop her head off unless you give the briefcase to Dolph. I don't know. Something like that. And he gives it away to save Mandy. And that way he doesn't have to defend it and lose. They could do something kind of lame like that, I guess. Do I see Otis winning and becoming the world champion? No. And he should. He's not ready for that. He's popular. He's having a great run. I love the stuff with him and Mandy. Not at that world championship level. Maybe down the road I'll feel differently. I love Otis, but not at that level. I don't think he's ready for that. Let's go to 702.
Hey, Solomonster.
Hey, who am I talking to?
Carlos from Las Vegas. And just a quick reminder that our major's an idiot. But how are you?
I'm good, Carlos. What'd you think of this pay-per-view tonight?
Before that, I just wanted to answer the first thought about the Ultimate X. It was Pete Williams and Chris Sabin.
Okay.
I'm a big AJ fan, so.
Okay. Well, that answers.
I know that. I know that answers from the top of my head.
That answers that question. So thank you for clarifying that.
I was actually not even mad about Otis winning. The match was fun, honestly.
I agree.
Obviously, I don't think he's a main eventer. I doubt he will win any world title from that cash-in.
He's not going to win.
But it will be a fun run whenever that match comes up. And Kana has been like the highlight of most of this no crowd shows, honestly.
Yeah.
So
yep.
she's earned it.
Yep.
And that's all.
Cool.
Have a good day.
Thank you for calling in. Yeah, I have to agree. I just don't see it. Just don't see him at that level. But I'm sure there were a lot of people who were shocked and swerved by that finish tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly why they did it. Again, you see the number on your screen. For those of you who want to chime in, what did you think of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view? Climbing the corporate ladder, was the risk worth the reward? Nobody has answered that question for me yet. Was the risk worth the reward? We've been asked that question now for weeks. I'm surprised nobody has answered the question. Anybody who's called in so far. Let's see here. Who have I missed? Gavin again. Gavin, Amy. What about Otis cashing in on the SmackDown Tag Team titles with Tucker And Rey Mysterio thrown off the roof equals soon to debut in AEW. Oh, is that how that works? You get thrown off a roof and you end up in Jacksonville? They don't have enough WWE talent that they're bringing in. They need Rey Mysterio too? I don't think so. Not that Rey wouldn't be of value. This is not the time to be bringing in another WWE name. Let's see. Second Royalty. Thank you for the $5. I'm let down that AJ did not make a petty joke about Roman Reigns while walking past his poster in the hallway. He who shall not be spoken of. Remember? He's got heat. He's in the doghouse, in the big doghouse. No, he's not. Jared Jackson. We love you, bro. I'll continue to support you in the channel however I can. What could have been the Fiend's peak or ultimate purpose? Well, I mean, the ultimate purpose maybe is to seek revenge on those who have wronged him. And in wrestling, I like the idea that the championship is the number one power source. So no matter who you are, if you're a monster, if you're a giant, if you're a jobber at the bottom of the ladder, everybody should aspire to be the champion. Everybody should aspire to grab that title because it just represents absolute power. Even though we know it really doesn't, but it should. That's in a perfect world how I would see it. That's how you justify somebody like The Fiend wanting to be the champion. Otherwise, why is he here? I'm not saying he needs to be the champion, but he should want to be in that position. Why hate? Sent in the 249 super chat. Is Money in the Bank only for singles titles only? What about the tag team titles? Well, not this year. Not for the tag team. Well, okay, so you're asking, are these briefcases cashable for a tag team title shot? That's interesting. I don't know that they have ever addressed that it had to be for a specific championship. I don't know. And if they haven't specified, then that could be their way out. Maybe Otis cashes in on a tag team title opportunity. Maybe he doesn't go after the world title. He pledges his allegiance to Tucker. And then they win the SmackDown tag team. I mean, he'd be an awesome partner if he did that. I could tell you that if I was in a tag team and I had the Money in the Bank briefcase, my partner, he'd be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Because I'm cashing in for the world title. I don't care how close we are. Doesn't matter to me. You want the world title, that's where the real money is right there. I'd be a hell of a tag team partner. Jackie is back with the $10 drop. I tried calling in after reading the comment section. Yes, no Hooters in Brooklyn, which is where I live. Formal shout out to my big brother, Jared, who is listening. Well, what's the area code? If you tell me the area code, I'll see if I can get you on. Dried chicken without flavor. Thank you for the $5. I wish AJ and Daniel Bryan would destroy Vince's office with him inside just to get him more angry. Turtlehead. Shout out to Turtlehead, always with the live streams joining us. Shout out to my lone client, Octavia, and the chat. And how good would an undefeated Fiend against Demon Balor have been? Oh, well, what might have been. It's too bad. They already screwed the pooch on that one. And Jay Retro with the $5 Disappointed Solomonster Super Chat. Pointless to give Otis the briefcase. He is not going to be WWE Champion. My guess is that Mandy low blows him when he cashes in. P.S. Bayley was on fire tonight. Hey, look, Bayley's great. Bayley, when she came out and she's like, you know, almost like mocking Michael Cole, and they were doing the whole boo yay thing at the beginning. You know, I in a way, I've kind of turned a corner on Bayley in a way that I have like with Britt Baker and AEW, where Bayley was doing nothing for me as this heel champion and the new music and everything, but she's been able to show more of her personality and just kind of have more fun with it. And I'm getting more and more behind her in this role as the champion, which probably means that it's about that time that she's going to drop the belt. But as long as she drops it to Sasha, they've been building this story up long enough. Go to 956, you're on the air.
Hey, Solomonster. It's me, Christian, from Brownsville, Texas. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Christian, for calling in. What'd you think of this pay-per-view?
It was pretty good. I'm actually watching you on my flat screen TV, and you look pretty good. So keep up the good work.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure thing. I enjoyed the both ladder matches, even though they were filmed at the same time. I was very happy that Asuka won because she was my personal pick during your prediction show. And as for Otis, I know you said don't underestimate Mr. Otis, but I don't think he's going to be winning any championships anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Unless he was, nope. So as for the and the match between Braun and Bray, it was pretty good. I wish it was more of a back at the Firefly Funhouse type of thing with the puppets, because I'm really liking the Firefly House stuff because it reminds me of the Muppets and Sesame Street and all that. So.
Well,
anyway.
Look, I like the puppet stuff too. I mean, it could be a little hokey, but when like the Firefly Funhouse match with Cena and all the kind of weird stuff they did there. See, you can't do a match like that every month. I mean, that was like being on an acid trip. You can't do that every single month. But
that's true.
But also keep in mind that this was not The Fiend, and so maybe when they get to the rematch between them, maybe that will have some kind of special Funhouse. See, I don't even know that I would do that. I don't know that I would want the championship to be decided in a match like that. The thing with Cena was just one-on-one. It was this full circle type of story. 6 years ago you beat me, and they kind of showed all the history between them. But there wasn't a title on the line. I still feel like if you're going to have the WWE title or the Universal title defended, it's got to be in a real match. So probably doesn't work for this, but yeah, we're going to see The Fiend at Backlash. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, or SummerSlam. I'd probably get my hopes
probably
for
both.
SummerSlam. Yeah, that's true.
Probably both. I would. Look. Before you go, I would not wait until SummerSlam to have The Fiend challenge Braun, because what do you do in the 4 months in between? So, you can have The Fiend at SummerSlam, but by then it'll be against someone else. I wouldn't hold off on that. You have to kind of do it at the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's true. I guess so. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'll let you go then. See you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Man, you can't wait until SummerSlam to do that. What are you going to do in the meantime? What are you going to do in June and July? It's a long time to wait. I wouldn't do that. Off Leather Wings with the $1.99. Braun and Fiend have a Firefly Funhouse match, and Otis cashes in. I was trying to think of something I would do if that happened, because there's 0% chance of that happening in that exact order. I was going to say I'll shave my head, but I'm not going to do that. George Romani. Wow, thank you for the $40 drop, George. I almost said George Romero. I thought George Romero donated $40 to my podcast. This is the greatest day of my life. Thank you for entertaining us during this pandemic. Much love here in California. Well, hopefully you guys out there are staying safe. I heard there was an earthquake. Wasn't there an earthquake in California? I don't know what part. Before the pay-per-view went on, I saw something about there being an earthquake. I think like a magnitude 4 point something in California. So I don't know how serious that was, but hopefully everybody out there is okay. It's peanut butter Vader time. It's peanut butter Vader time. Thank you, Jake Finn, for the $7. I appreciate that. I guess that's $10 Canadian, which translates into $7 American. Always love seeing peanut butter Vader time here on this podcast. Man, we got the lines all jammed up. Why don't we take a few more? Why not? Why end the party so soon when we've still got people waiting to call in here? Let's go to 612, if this works. Did this work? I believe it did. 612.
Hello? Yes. Well, first, thanks for taking my call. Much appreciated.
Is this
wondering?
Is this Tim?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Good to hear from you.
Tim Tapp. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it. But I was really getting some thoughts on tonight. I think like Asuka during this whole unfortunate lockdown situation it's almost been like a highlight reel for Asuka, because she's been having an absolute ball. And I would say she doesn't fall prey to dumb babyface syndrome.
No.
But she's a heel.
No.
And I was wondering, do you think anyone else will kind of benefit in that way? I think you've covered in your show, like Vince has like turned a corner on Asuka since he's kind of been forced to focus or at least see her through the crowd.
I hope that she has shown him that she is one of the MVPs of that show. You mentioned that she's been one of the star players during this whole empty arena phase. But if anybody isn't aware of the fact that Asuka has her own YouTube channel, you should check it out because she puts up some very entertaining videos. She's got a great YouTube channel. Her and Sheamus, I've sung the praises of both of their YouTube channels before. So if you've never checked it, I don't know the name of it. Somebody in the chat will remind me.
Kana-chan TV.
Yes, there you go. Kana-chan TV, and she does a lot of it's like a lot of video game stuff too, and she'll sometimes she'll be out and about, maybe not now, but she would be out and about at like arcades and stuff. She's a big gamer. So there's a lot of gaming type stuff up there, but she's fantastic. It's the complete opposite of the killer version of Asuka that, you saw in Japan or when she first came to NXT. And she just gets to show a lot more of her personality. So, yes, thank you for that. Kana-chan TV on YouTube. If you have not checked it out, when we're done here, definitely go check that out. That's
basically, I hope, I don't know what the future is for Kairi Sane, but it seems like these kind of outsized endeavors are it's like a good time for wrestlers. Carmella's been doing like the weird impressions on her page. So it's almost like a free-for-all for people to kind of get themselves over, kind of.
Well, they're going to have to be more creative, in terms of doing promos on their social media and things of that nature. You're very limited in what you can do. So it could be a good opportunity for people across all the companies, WWE, AEW, to record themselves and just show more of their personality and kind of break out in that way. Because at some point, this will all be over. Now, I don't know if that's going to be in a year. I don't know if that's going to be 2 years from now or how long this is going to go on for. But in the meantime, don't just sit on your ass and do nothing and let people forget who you are. You got to keep your name out there somehow. And if you're not able, if you work for a company where they're not running any shows, Ring of Honor is not running any shows. New Japan is not running any shows. So do you just sit at home and do nothing? Or do you go online and just come up with different things to do to just keep your name out there? So I think we're going to see a lot more of that as time goes on.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you for taking my call, and a longtime fan of the show. Keep it up, man. Take care.
Thank you. You too. I appreciate that. So that was Tim calling in. And let me say thank you to Adam Mall. To make sure I said that right. Adam Mall, thank you for the $5. I'm liking the hair. Keep it up and you might get another Solomonster lookalike added to the bunch. If you know who I mean. I don't. Maybe it's too late. Maybe I'm getting tired, but I don't know. I really don't. Anyway. Who do we got here? We got somebody from Brazil in the chat. He keeps saying Brazil over and over again. I assume that must be he's he's from Brazil. Let's go to 816. If this works. It did not. So let's go to someone else. Let's go to 401. 401, which I believe might be Rhode Island, if this works. Is this not working all of a sudden? No, this might not be working all of a sudden. This might be the end. If this doesn't work, then we'll have to wrap things up. All right, third time's a charm. Let's give this another shot. There we go. 303.
Oh, Solomonster, could you hear me?
I can hear you. I think I wasn't pushing the button hard enough. But 303, you are lucky enough to get through.
I am the luckiest man in the world because I never thought I'd be able to get a phone call from you, but I appreciate it.
Well, you called me.
This is Lucas. Oh, well.
I didn't call you.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
But this is Lucas calling from Denver. Big fan of you. To be honest, this is my first time actually ordering the network.
Oh.
And I was actually blown away by like all of the content that they give you. And if you are a wrestling fan, like it's definitely worth $10 a month.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I bought it
easily.
for simple fact.
Easily.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I don't know. Are you into any of the really classic stuff, or are you into it more for like some of the newer stuff?
Really both. Like I started like watching wrestling like when I was like a young boy, like around 5 or 6 back in like the 2000s. This is where like Rock and Stone Cold and Triple H were still around. And when Ruthless Aggression was around, that's when I really just like I couldn't miss an episode of Raw or SmackDown. But since wrestling has taken a downturn for the worse, it's kind of like hard to like watch this stuff like on a daily. That's all we have you for these days. So we appreciate you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But I didn't waste more time. But my quick thoughts on the pay-per-view itself. All in all, it was a well above average show, I'd say. I think the Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins match was a very, very good match. Even for an empty arena building match, it's still pretty good. And quick side note, Sasha Banks was looking so freaking fine in her corner with Bayley. And I was actually surprised that Tucker won. And don't get me wrong, I love Tucker. I mean, to me, he's like the Chris Farley of WWE right now. But Otis, my bad. I'm sorry.
You're going to make Tucker even more jealous now by saying that.
My bad. Tucker's going to be mad. He's like, that could have been me.
Tucky. You got to say it the right way. Tucky. Tucky.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. God, he's like the Kool-Aid man. He's great.
Man, I get that a lot. But
well, not you. I'm saying Otis, not you. I didn't call you the Kool-Aid man. I said Otis is like the Kool-Aid man.
Oh yeah, you're right. you should be calling Seth MacFarlane and taking that job, I guess.
You sound more like Barry White.
Like I haven't heard that before.
Well, that's like the ultimate compliment. Everybody wants to sound like Barry White.
Yeah, the women tell me that all the time. But anyway,
I'd rather sound like Barry White than Barry Corbin. Go ahead.
Man, you was funny as hell, man.
That was a terrible.
Oh my gosh, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, I thought it was a very, very good show overall. And one little side note, or not a side note, one last question before I try to end this call. If you had to like put all your money, like if you was a gambling man, you had to put all your money in a potential storyline going forward with Otis now that he's won the Money in the Bank. And I've been listening to your show and I've heard like, oh, he could like cash in, but Mandy might turn on him, or Tucker might turn on him, or he might cash in his contract, his Money in the Bank contract with for a tag title match with him and Tucker. What is the one gut feeling where like, okay, this is a storyline where they're gonna go?
I don't know. That's kind of what I like about it. I don't know what direction they're going to go in with it. It's kind of unpredictable. Maybe that's why they went with it. They wanted to go with unpredictable tonight, and I don't know that they know. I said that earlier. I don't know that they are even sure where they're going to go with this. If this is going to be a long-term thing and he's going to hold on to it for 6 months, then they probably don't know where they're going to go with it. Or they may have a plan where he's going to drop it on TV in the next week or at the next pay-per-view. So if they're going to have him cash in for a tag team title opportunity, if that's allowed, that takes it in a totally different direction than if he were to go ahead and challenge for the World Championship. I mean, if he's going to challenge for the World Championship, we know it's not going to be for a while because we've got Braun and Bray. So I don't see there being any rush. Like, just, pump the brakes a little bit. Let him hold on to it for a while. Unless they want to go in the tag team title, direction. Then let him go ahead and cash in. I would say that, a babyface team like them shouldn't be attacking New Day after a long match. They should just come out on TV and he should be like, listen, Tucker, you're my best friend. You're my boy. And I think that you and I should go for the tag team titles. And they set the match up for Backlash. New Day beat 3 other teams tonight. Usos are gone. They beat Miz and Morrison. They beat Lucha House Party. And they beat the Forgotten Sons. Well, what other teams are there? It's got Heavy Machinery. Maybe this is setting them up for a tag team title match.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think WWE is in a good place right now because they're at this point where they can like keep their audience guessing. Because the worst thing to do is like mixed up so obvious that the excitement level is like so low, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the fan, like we could talk about like, oh, what's Otis gonna do, and where's this gonna play out, especially for Asuka, because I hear that people think that she's gonna challenge Charlotte, but we don't even know that. I mean,
nobody knows.
She's got options.
Anybody who says they know is they're full of shit. Nobody knows exactly where they're going or what they're doing. We'll get a better sense on TV this week, but the pay-per-view just ended. Nobody knows. Look, if they don't know where they're going, how is anybody else going to say for sure that they know where WWE is going? They don't. So let's let the next week of TV play out, and then we'll have a better sense of what direction they're going in.
I hear you on that. And that's all I got. Again, thank you for taking in my call, and keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. That was Barry White on the phone calling into the podcast. The sweet, sultry tone of Barry White calling into the stream. That is the ultimate compliment. I would be very honored if somebody ever called me Barry. I don't look like Barry White, but if anybody ever said I sounded like him, I would take that as the ultimate compliment. Gigs World, thank you for the $10. Hey, Solomonster, I'm digging Dark Side of the Ring. Do you think in Season 3 we will get a Death of ECW or WCW episode? Maybe one on Chris Candido or Shawn Michaels in the 90s. The Shawn Michaels one would be tough. They tend to go in the direction of stories that don't end well. And they'd probably have to get... The people they would have to interview are not going to be interviewed. You're not going to interview Shawn Michaels. You're not going to interview Vince McMahon. You're not going to interview Triple H. You know, like his close friends. Because WWE just doesn't participate. They don't cooperate with them. So I don't see them doing Shawn Michaels. Could you do the Death of WCW or ECW? Yeah, you can do that. I think you could do that. I had mentioned Chris Candido and Sonny, Brian Pillman. God, I had a whole list of them. I went through this on the podcast a few weeks ago. I had a whole list of the steroid trial. The Vince McMahon steroid trial in 94, 93, 94. You know, you had the other WWF drug scandals, the Ring Boy scandal, all that stuff in the early 90s. I mean, that stuff is just prime material. Are you kidding me? It's prime material. Buck Zumhofe, that scumbag, Adrian Adonis. There's no shortage of stories of what they could cover. So the collision in Korea and WCW, that whole thing. Christian, thank you for the $5. I've never tried calling before, so I don't know if the beeping and end was supposed to happen. I may have been the 816 code that you try. Well, if that was you, that was me. That wasn't you. I just, I couldn't get the button to work. So if I missed you, I'm sorry. You could try again, but if not, we go live every week, every Wednesday with Dynamite, and every month with the pay-per-view. Hey, we're going to be live for Double or Nothing in a few weeks. Double or Nothing, May 23rd on pay-per-view. I'll be right back here on this channel. Going live again on YouTube, so you could always try calling then. Let's do one or two more, and then we'll wrap up. I can't believe we've gone this long. Let us go to Mr. Quillman. Is this Chris?
Yes, what's up, Mr. Monster?
What's going on, Chris?
Oh, nothing much. I'm sorry I didn't get to. Usually I give you a super chat, but I'm waiting on a new bank card.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm just glad you called in.
But no, I'll get you back next Wednesday. I think Turtlehead took off with my bank card to buy some more of that
Turtlehead
boneyard dirt.
Goddamn thief.
I know it. Well,
I kid Turtlehead.
Yeah,
I watched Turtlehead.
We all love Turtlehead. We all love it.
Of course.
No, but I watched the show tonight. I was I don't know. I was like going back and forth with the main event. Like at times I liked it. At times it was a little cringy. But I think it was pretty fun. It was different,
Hey, let me cut you off there for a second. Bill in the chat. Bill, Mr. Romanowski. I had my UWF review on the podcast today. I did my Dark Side of the Ring review on the Herb Abrams, which is quite a story, by the way. The Herb Abrams story. So that was up. It's on the feed right now. If you want to wait for it on YouTube, it'll be up in the next couple of days. So it's coming soon. Watch for it. But go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I was just, it was an alright pay-per-view. I think I don't know, the cinematic thing is kind of cool. I think, sometimes I don't know, sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss for me, but you
win some, you lose some. I just like that they're trying something different.
Right, yeah, no, definitely, because that's what's needed right now, I mean, AEW's got they're doing their own kind of thing, and you don't want to copy, so I mean, it's cool that they have the money to do this blockbuster type stuff, so might as well,
Yeah, and look, it gave The Undertaker what could be the last really fun, good match of his career. I just got done watching the Undertaker special. I know they were advertising it for after Money in the Bank, but it was up on demand earlier, so I watched Chapter 1 of that new documentary series, and it was great. And it's the first of 5 episodes. The first episode, but I bring the Undertaker up because of the whole Boneyard thing. But just to let everybody know, I probably will do a review, maybe even tomorrow, here on the channel. But yeah, definitely check out the Undertaker episode if you were on the fence about it, because I watched the whole thing, episode 1, and it's very good. And you could see in the special how bothered he was by how crappy that WrestleMania 33 match was with Roman Reigns. He watched it back. He knows how disappointing that match was. You can see the pride that he takes in his work. So the fact that he and AJ went out there and they had what I thought was the match of WrestleMania. I mean, who knew that coming in? Those guys got lucky with the circumstances being what they are, because were it not for them doing it cinematically, I don't think I'd be sitting here right now telling you that The Undertaker had the best match on the WrestleMania card this year. So it was cool that he, if that is his last match, and I don't think it is, but he went out on a high note, if it was.
Yeah, actually, I plan on watching that as soon as you go off with your stream. So that was going to be my next on my to-do list tonight. So, but my question for you was going to be where you thought they were going to go with Otis, but you already kind of answered that. Mm-hmm. So instead, I'm just going to say that since I've been, rewatching stuff here and there, I rewatched the HOG again, the number 9 thing that they have up on the YouTube channel.
Sure.
And do you have any idea if they're going to be putting any more content up or anything like that? Because I feel like now would be, be a pretty good time.
Yeah,
to catch some matches at least.
Yeah, I don't know what their plans are. I haven't gotten an update on what is going up next. They've got enough content that if they wanted to put more up, they could. It's probably just a matter of editing it and figuring out what it's going to be. It sucks because right now everything is in a holding pattern as far as doing more shows. I can't wait to get back to doing commentary on the shows again, and seeing everybody. But you got to be smart about this. Plus, remember, the company now is under new ownership, so we really haven't seen an HOG show yet under the Master P era. So
really?
Yeah. I mean, he owns House of Glory now. So when the next show is going to be, I don't know. It could be that they're waiting until they start running new shows again. But yeah, they've got a couple of full shows up there. HOG 9, I think HOG 8 might be up there. I know some of the shows that I've done are up there, the stuff that me and JD did on commentary. So definitely go check that out and leave some feedback. Leave some love for what you thought about the commentary on those shows.
Yeah, I heard you mention it. What was it on Wednesday's review or something like that? And I was in the chat like, yes, we need more HOG stuff.
Yes, we do. I agree. We need more HOG.
So everybody in the chat right now, let them know. Let them know we need more HOG.
That's right. I want to see HOG in the chat, like NWO. Anything else, Chris? Before we move on here.
No, it's all good. I just wanted to say what's up and to let you know that I got you next Wednesday on the Super Chat Pro Show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
You have a good one.
All right, stay safe. That was Chris Quillman, a name that you may have heard a time or two here on these streams. Always a big supporter. Cannot say enough good things about him. Slay Fox 100 Trons, thank you for the $7 peanut butter Vader Super Chat. There it is. There's that little bastard on screen doing the dance. Yeah, there's a song that goes with that. I would love to play it, but I don't know how YouTube would react to that, so I can't play it. But there's the There's Vader in the flesh, dancing around. Let me flash the poll one more time. I love flashing my poll, in case you couldn't tell. Instapoll. What the hell did you think of Money in the Bank this year? 2,800 votes in, 69.9. I love how I'm talking about my poll. We have 69 in the poll. 69% thumbs up, 30% thumbs down. So again, largely positive reaction to Money in the Bank this year. You guys seem to really enjoy it. I enjoyed the show too. I enjoyed the show more than I liked more than what I hated. I didn't really hate anything on this show. Some stuff I didn't care for, but there was enough good stuff and the show ended early. I can't hate on this show. Let's do a couple more, and then we will indeed wrap up. Let's go to 203.
What's going on? It's Mark.
Hey,
Stamford.
Mr. Winsley. What's going on?
Not too much. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's after
This is
midnight.
actually-
It's Monday morning.
I'm surprised you're still on.
I know. So am I. I got to get the hell out of here.
This is actually my first live. I usually catch the pay-per-view maybe a half hour, an hour after it ends, and then, listen to your show afterwards. So this is my first live one.
Well, I mean, what? So this is your first live stream, you mean?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. That's cool. Yeah. Well, you got to watch the events live more often, so you can tune into the streams live.
For sure. But yeah, I thought the pay-per-view was pretty good. All things considered. A few thoughts. The tag match was good. I don't know if I wasn't paying enough attention, but I thought the match on SmackDown had a little bit more exciting moments with Lindsay and Grand Metalik. I don't know if you were able to catch that match.
The SmackDown Tag Team title match?
Right.
Yeah. No, I said earlier, I thought it was a very good match, and I thought that the Lucha House Party were the real standouts in that match.
Right. No, I mean the match on SmackDown.
Oh, on SmackDown. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm
saying that match. That match I thought had more exciting moments than the pay-per-view match. I did enjoy the pay-per-view match though. Fun fact about that match actually, that's Kofi Kingston's 50th pay-per-view win, which makes him one of only 10 guys in WWE to ever have that.
60th or 50th?
50th.
50th. It's very impressive. Almost as impressive as him losing the championship in 8 seconds on TV.
Of course. After breathe, Mr. Barry White. Sasha was looking good tonight in the little red spandex.
Always.
Tamina, dumbest babyface of the night award, of course.
Yes.
Really like the Seth.
She definitely wins the award for dumb babyface syndrome. Goes to Tamina.
Yeah, that was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. But I have to agree with you. I really like the Seth and the Drew match, especially the last few minutes of it. Seth sold that Claymore like he was knocked clean the fuck out.
Which is great. That's exactly how it should be sold. It should be sold as a devastating finisher. When you get hit with it, it only takes one, and you are done. You are done for. That's how it should be done.
Right. That was stiff as a board. I think the crowd would have really been into it if there was a crowd. If there was one match that I think the crowd needed, but I think the crowd would have been that match for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not digging Seth's new music. What I say in the comments was like DVD menu music. I called it. I'm not. I understand it. It fits his gimmick, but we need Jim Johnson back, which I know is not going to happen. Everything that guy put out was memorable.
Yeah, I wish he would come back. I don't think that's going to happen either, but hopefully he'll get his acknowledgement one day. If that's a Hall of Fame induction, then it's well deserved.
For sure. This is the weirdest thing, hearing you on the phone and watching you, and your mouth is not matching. Your mouth is not matching when I'm hearing through the phone.
Yeah, I feel like a marionette puppet or something like that. It's just the mouth is not matching the voice, but you get when you watch it back and you listen to your call back, everything should be all synced up. So if it's not, then you got to tell me, because then we got big problems.
Right. All right, man. I'll let you go. But yeah, I thought it was overall a pretty good show. What we do need though is more Rey Mysterio's son impressions from you. I think it was this week or last week?
Yes.
I forgot what you said, but
Puppy.
I think it was like, oh no, yeah, Poppy, don't retire. If we need Dominic back just for that.
Yes. I could do like a blend maybe of like Josh Matthews and Dominic Mysterio, like fuse them together or something to some weird creature.
Actually, real quick before you go,
Rey Mysterio was thrown off the building. Rey Mysterio.
I know this is.
I don't know. I think
nothing
he may have
that you
landed in
can-
the parking lot. Oh my God. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Who is that supposed to be?
Josh Matthews.
I do remember that.
Sounds like
You're
he has
right,
a stick
right.
up his ass every time he does commentary. Moose just
Right,
won.
right.
He just climbed the ladder and won the TNA World Championship.
I don't know. You might have better impressions than Bruce.
Nah, Bruce has pretty good impressions, I have to say. Bruce and Jim Cornette too. Bruce and Jim Cornette, no matter what you think of them, have some of the best impressions that I have heard. That one of them, and even Jim Ross. Jim Ross does an amazing Terry Funk impression. So I got to give them their...
Really? I haven't heard Jim Ross.
Oh yeah. Jim Ross does a pretty good Terry Funk impression.
Nice. Last thing before you go, though, I know you can't really predict the future. We're not clairvoyant or anything, but you said you weren't going to be in a movie theater for a while. Do you think you will have another get-together within the next, let's say, 12 months with everything going on?
No. No.
Flat out, no.
I'm not sure I'm having a get-together in the next 24 months.
Yeah, it's just crazy out there. I was at Brooklyn last year, my sister and a few friends, and we were actually at the restaurant, but it looked like you were fed up with everyone, so we didn't even bother.
No, they were fed up with everyone. There was one time where I lost track of time, and I had tickets to SummerSlam, and so I had been at the bar for like 4.5 hours, and I looked down and I said, "Oh shit!" It was like the middle of the pre-show, and I had to walk all the way to Barclays. But other than that, I usually enjoy the meetups more than I do the WWE shows.
Lately, for sure.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know what it was. It just looked like you did not want to be bothered. So we're like, you know what? Let's not.
Well, that's a rare. You caught me at a rare moment. There are other times where people they buy me so many drinks, I probably feel like keeling over and just vomiting all over the floor. Maybe it was one of those times. There's a guy, Eddie. Shout out to Eddie if he's listening. I don't know. Eddie, you know who you are. Every time I show up, Eddie is there. Or if he's not, he shows up later on. Like, out of nowhere, he'll just show up and, like, tap me on the shoulder. And he'll be like, here you go. And he's got, like, a giant shot. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, like a magic trick, he pulls his other arm out. He's got another shot. He goes, here you go. I go, Eddie, what are you trying to do to me? Oh, no. We're just getting the day started. I'm like, Eddie, I have to take notes and pay attention to the show. I can't be seeing double vision here. No, don't worry. And always, Eddie gets me fucked up. I love Eddie, though. Eddie's a good dude.
Everyone needs an Eddie in their life.
They do.
So, hey, maybe in 2025, I'll see you next time it comes out here to New York. Fun fact, my cousin works, well, not fun fact, but my cousin works for WWE, and supposedly after LA, they plan to be in Philly for WrestleMania the year after next. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but.
Well, I wonder though. Well,
you won't be there. You won't be there though.
No, I won't be there. But I wonder if they've made any promises to Tampa though. I would be kind of surprised if they don't end up going back to Tampa after what happened this year.
Yeah, they might have to make up for that one.
Yeah.
Well, nice talking to you, man.
Well, thank you.
Definitely be checking in on a few other live shows.
Yeah, definitely. Call back again in the future. Hopefully I'll be able to get you on next time again.
Sounds good, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Well, there you have it. Some little insight. Nothing confirmed, of course, but it sounds like Philly is in the running for WrestleMania the year after next. But, of course, everything is up in the air. So whatever their plans may have been, like Los Angeles next year, I'm not convinced they're going to be in LA either. So I don't know about Philly, but there you go. A little bit of insight there from Mark. He's a big fan of the show. Funny his name is Mark, but anyway. Let's see. What do we got here? Man, we still got jam lines. I hate to end it, but man, we've been going a long time. I think I'm going to wrap up here after this next call. So we got to make it a good one. We have to make it a good one. Always have to make it a good one, right? Let's go to the West Coast. Let's try 909. If this works. Which it is not. I'm very sorry, 909. That means I have to go to a different part of California, and we have to go to San Francisco. 415.
Hey, what's going on, Jason?
Good. Or maybe it's not. Is it San Francisco or is it Daly City? Where are you exactly?
Daly City.
Daly City.
Daly
Okay.
City.
Okay, good. Daly City.
Yeah, I've called in before many times. Thank you for taking my call, actually. This is James, by the way.
Well, I saw you were waiting a while, so I wanted to make sure I got to you, James.
Oh, yeah. It's only been 2 hours, but it's been a fun little list.
2 hours.
So I can't complain.
2 hours and 7 minutes he's been waiting on the line. Don't be modest. You can be exact.
It's been fun. I can't complain. Overall, I thought the show was really good. Between tonight's main event and Dynamite's street fight, it's been a pretty good week for over-the-top sports entertainment.
Yeah,
you know?
I love that Dynamite main event. I liked the Money in the Bank too, but that Dynamite main event was ridiculous. So I would agree. Very, very entertained by both matches.
Indeed. There's actually a spot, when AJ and Daniel Bryan, when they went into Vince's office, I would have played it like this. I would have had it been more guys just in the hallway. It's just either the guys or the girls fighting in the hallway, and Vince just pops his head out the door, and he'd be just looking at them and just say, "Well, this is some damn good shit."
Yeah. Yeah, they could have done that. Or they could have had him getting a late-night workout in the gym as people are fighting all around him. He's, pumping iron, as I'm sure he does every day.
But like you said, though, he looks like the Crypt Keeper, so the less we have to see of his face, the better.
Well, if he wears a bag over his head, you would never know.
So then he would be that ghost lady from Scary Movie 2 who gave Marlon Wayans the blowjob at the end.
I don't know anything about that. I'll take your word for it.
No, it's just a crappy...
I haven't seen Scary Movie in so long. I literally don't remember anything from the movie.
Good stuff. But I have just a couple of questions. First off, how much longer do you think they're going to drag the Bayley and Sasha, slow burn until their eventual feud? How much longer do you think that's going to last?
Probably, I would guess around SummerSlam time. SummerSlam was going to be in Boston. Probably not going to happen now, so that would have been cool to have Sasha win the championship there. But I think everything has been building to SummerSlam at the end of the summer. So I think they could probably get a few more months out of it. And then I would, whatever the next chapter is or the blow off or whatever, I would do it at the end of August.
Yeah, it makes sense. The blow off for that, it should be a high stake, big pay-per-view like SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. I just hope that it just can rival their NXT match. Otherwise,
it's not going to. That's the problem. It's not going to, and I'll tell you why. And I was there for their NXT. I was there for their NXT match, and I've been to a lot of shows over the years, main roster, NXT. One AEW show, the first Double or Nothing, which was an excellent show. The Sasha and Bayley match is some of the most fun I've ever had watching a match because I was into the build-up, I was into the story. Bayley was, she was always bullied by Sasha, and she was so over as a babyface. It still boggles my mind how they fucked up with her as a babyface on the main roster. But they had this great babyface in Bayley, this great heel in Sasha, the big entrance coming out in whatever it was, the SUV. And they just had an incredible match. Everybody was hanging on to every move. The finish of the match was awesome. Just everything about it was so great. And the crowd just erupted. And now if you do that match in an empty building, I don't care how good the match is, it ain't going to come anywhere close to what that NXT match was. So I think we have to be careful as far as when we compare it to stuff like that. Because as long as all this nonsense is going on, it's just not going to be able to rise to that level. It's a shame too, because I'd love to see it also, but I would be careful when I make that comparison.
Yeah, I agree. Without a crowd, it just totally lacks energy. Like even like that, for example, tonight Seth versus Drew, it could have been 10 times the match it was, which was a really good match, but a crowd would have really made that match stand out.
Or a crowd could have ruined it. I mean, look, if
very true.
I'm just being honest. I mean, look, Seth Rollins was a babyface who turned heel because the people turned on him, and I don't know how the crowds would react to him now. I mean, they had a kick-ass match, but who's to say that in a building full of people waiting to see the Money in the Bank stuff that they wouldn't chant boring or they wouldn't, do the wave. I think these guys were good enough they would have gotten the crowd into it, but sometimes the crowd can ruin a match too.
Indeed, yeah. A crowd could literally throw a beach ball at them and totally just ruin the match.
Yep.
But another question I have, so in terms of Asuka, her being a zany, crazy heel, do you think she's going to, with her Money in the Bank contract, will she go for a random cash-in, or do you think she'll go back to being the Asuka of old, the total badass killer, and say, hey, I want to challenge you at this certain pay-per-view, this certain day to Becky Lynch, and have it go that way? Because I think she's too good of a competitor to too good of a competitor to just do the random cash-in, because I really do think next time around she will beat Becky clean.
Really? You think that Asuka will beat Becky clean in their next match?
Yeah, because Becky's reign, like you said, it's gone on long enough. It has to end, and we need somebody like Asuka, or I thought it was going to be Shayna Baszler, to bring her back down to reality.
Well, I still think it could be. I still think it could be Shayna. Although I guess they were promising on Raw tomorrow night that Becky is going to be there to confront the Money in the Bank winner. But it just feels like to go back to that so soon. It doesn't feel like that's something they would do. I mean, we just got Becky and Asuka was at the Royal Rumble, I guess. For them to go back to that so soon after, not that I mind. I mean, I'd be surprised. But then what do you do with Shayna? Like, I'm not prepared to sit here and say just because Shayna didn't win Money in the Bank, she's buried, she's done. I want to see what they do with her tomorrow. Then maybe when Asuka comes out, if she comes out, maybe Shayna sneaks up from behind her and tries to kill her and choke her out. Just to kind of keep her name in the title hunt. But they have to be careful what their next move is going to be, with Shayna Baszler. She didn't have to win tonight, but if they just sort of let her drift away, then whatever they've been doing with her these last few weeks is just going to kind of go away. It's all going to be a waste of time, and then she will be buried. So I don't know. I'd be surprised if they put the title on Asuka. But we'll see what this confrontation looks like tomorrow night. And we'll see if Shayna comes out and interrupts.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they put the title on Asuka, just because, with everything that's going on right now, she's proven to be a constant. She's appeared on Raw, she's appeared on SmackDown, when she was tag team champion. I think it would be a reward to give her the title to show, hey, you really proved yourself, sticking by us, not only working once a week, but twice a week. I think they're going to put the strap on her. I really do think so.
All right. Well, I'm not convinced of that, but hey, from your lips to God's ears, if it's true, I'd love to see it, because if anybody deserves it, it's her. It's definitely Asuka. She's been the MVP of these empty arena shows.
She really has been. And just one last question for you, Jason. So Dark Side of the Ring has just been killing it this season. I think this season every episode just becomes more and more engrossing. Mm-hmm. But in terms of, next season, what would you like them to cover that's like non-death related, aside from, the whole steroid scandal with Vince McMahon and WWF?
I mean, that would probably be one of the chief ones I'd like for them to cover. I mean, look, if you don't cover that, or that could be one of them, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of wrestlers that you can cover that had sad stories and sad endings. Adrian Adonis is one. Chyna, I mean, that's a sad story. Brian Pillman, somebody mentioned Chris Candido before. I agree. I don't know if Mike Awesome is a big enough name to have an entire episode dedicated, to him. He was a talented guy who met a very unfortunate ending. But, look, there's also incidents in wrestling and the death of this company and the death of that company. There's really no shortage of things for them to dive into. The death of WCW stuff, I feel like it's been done to death. I don't know if they'd have any other new information to uncover that we don't already know from the other documentaries and the books. The death of ECW and how that all went down. If you gave me some time, I could probably think of other topics, other wrestlers that have... Look, you want to know one that they could do if they really wanted to? Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler's had some incidents over the years. There was one back in the early 90s that didn't stick, but... people kind of joke about it. He likes young girls. Oh, Jerry likes them young. And they're always cracking jokes. But, if you really think about it, it's kind of creepy. And there's been some allegations against him over the years. You can make Jerry Lawler the subject of a dark side of the ring. So really, there's no shortage of content for them to dive into.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, Jerry Lawler, he just gives me, even since the Attitude Era, he's just given me very just creepy vibes. And I don't know, his in-ring work, is good stuff, but just him as a personality or just him as a person, I'm not a fan.
They called him over the years Teflon Jerry because every time he was involved in some kind of incident or he had to go to court or whatever, no matter what it was, it would never stick. Because he really is, in a lot of ways, he's like the king of Memphis. He gets away with, or maybe he's just been wrongfully accused in all of these different situations, even traffic violations. There was one incident back in, I want to say it was 93, somewhere around then, where I think he got into a dispute with a traffic cop in Memphis and ran over her foot or something with his car. And I think he got off that too. It's just crazy. The amount of stuff that, he's been involved in over the years, but it never seems to stick. So, yeah, that could be an episode too.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting. Mm-hmm. But Jason, thank you for taking my call. I hope you have a great night. Stay safe out there.
Thank you. Appreciate it, my friend. Dark Side of the Ring. I do love me some Dark Side of the Ring. So, watch for my UWF review. The Herb Abrams thing is crazy. Talk about wrestling deaths. I mean, this one is up there as far as one of the crazier ones that you'll ever hear about. So, thank you for everybody who is still even here at almost 12:30 in the morning. We have over 1,400 or 1,500 people listening live. So, thank you to everybody. Food Hive. Let me just wrap this up here. Food Hive. Thank you for the $5. Appreciate that. Slay, Fox 100 Trons again with the Peanut Butter Vader. Thank you. Enlightened Comedy says, stay safe. I know this holiday hasn't been easy, but just wanted to send some good vibes to you. So that means a lot. I appreciate that. And everybody who subbed. We got a ton of new people subbing to the channel tonight. So hit that sub button if you have not already done so. And make sure alerts are switched on into the on position. Otherwise, you won't know when I go live. I will go live again on Wednesday. After Dynamite, we got a pay-per-view coming up, AEW, in a few weeks. And apparently Backlash coming up on June 14th. I think it might be Flag Day. Isn't June 14th Flag Day? It might be. Anyway, I'm going to plant my flag in bed here in a little bit. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for enlightening me with all your phone calls and super chats. It means the world to me. I very much appreciate all of your support. Have yourselves a great night. Be well. Stay safe. Wash your hands. I've added that to my sign-off. And I will see you back for episode 652 of the podcast next Sunday. And right back here on YouTube for the AEW Dynamite recap on Wednesday night. So until then, take care, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it.